Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast. I don't think you knew I was starting, did you? But I'm back in the basement with my teenage son, Jack, to co-host this journey through another week of professional wrestling. We will talk about AEW Dynamite, NXT, Raw, tiny bit of SmackDown, one thing from Speed I'll even mention. Do you have anything?
How did you watch Speed?
I saw that one match. I texted you.
How?
I don't know. I just clicked on it.
Where?
Came across my timeline,
On
whatever you
what?
want to say. Just in life. I don't know how I end up watching things.
Reddit, YouTube?
I Reddit, I guess.
That's weird.
I'm a lurker on there, I guess. I don't know. I don't
You
really
are a lurker.
have an account or do anything. I check for news and wrestling on there.
On
That's
Reddit?
it.
That's horrible.
I don't know where else to go. It's where I've
A
always
regular
gone.
news place.
Like what? I don't know.
I thought that's what you usually do.
On my computer. On my
Oh.
phone, I just go there.
That's gross.
Yeah, I know. Strange. But anyways,
Reddit's very reputable, you know?
I don't know if it is or not.
It kind of I was saying that yesterday to my friend, like, it kind of depends where you're going to Reddit for, because if you're looking up, like, a how-to-do blank,
Yeah.
then it's probably decent, because it's, like, one of those things where you have a thread and multiple people are chiming
Right.
in, right? But if you're looking for any reliable information
I
on
doubt
like,
it.
something,
I don't trust
exactly,
anything.
right? So it kind of depends what you're looking for on Reddit.
I agree, because the apps I use for news are like quote unquote unbiased ones. They just sort of report stuff
Right.
and they don't really. I
Like,
try.
I'm sure a
anyways.
Twitter thread might be decent for some things, but Twitter I wouldn't be getting information from.
I don't technically have social media. I don't know if Reddit counts, but that's all I do on there is I go on to look at wrestling stuff. I don't think I've ever posted a thing, or I don't even know if I have an account. I don't have
I don't
any.
think you do. I know you haven't. At least you say you don't. I don't know if
Nothing
you-
favorited or whatever. Oh, I think I started an FNS wrestling because I thought maybe I would do stuff on
On
there
Reddit?
with it, and then I didn't.
Mm.
So that's about it.
That
But-
would be interesting, actually.
But anyways, I banter wise, I had an eventful last couple days for sure, huh? Your mother got concussed, so why are you smiling?
Because it's funny.
So we ended up in emergency last night for 4.5 hours. That's not the funny part.
That's not the funny part.
Fine, CT scan and she's cleared, but she's just been super sleepy and off her game for sure. But
Yeah.
for those of relatives of ours who are listening and hearing this, she is fine. Everything came back fine. She just needs to rest for a few days or whatever it takes. Already saw a physiotherapist who specializes in concussions. And going back, he's the one that said you should probably go to Emerge, so we did.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm confident she's fine, but like just to rule things out, right? So that was fine. And yeah, so now she'll be going back to him to get treated and hopefully it goes well. But yeah, it was a long 4.5 hours in Emerge, but we never really
Gotta love
complained.
it.
Never complained too much. And I told you a sidebar from that, I think it was the 4th waiting place in the ER. You get shuffled through various waiting places and whatnot. A couple things. One was there's an American guy in the emergency room, and we were there for hours together. So we started talking a bit, and he was just crazy, the contrast. He paid, so I think it's his girlfriend, wife, whatever is Canadian, and they have a kid, and he just came to Canada, I think. The hospital, the ambulance ride, she was saying was $25, where it would have been several thousand for him in the States.
It's ridiculous.
That's
Well,
crazy.
yeah, even you guys to go today would probably be too much.
But anyways, in the one waiting room, when your mother was getting the CT scan, because I couldn't go in with her, a guy was watching something on his tablet, like across the waiting room from me. And I swear I could hear Wade Barrett's voice. So finally I said, "Are you watching wrestling?" And he was, yeah. So we started chatting and I told him about our podcast and he immediately followed. I did see we upped one on YouTube. So yeah, we were chatting and he goes to some bar. I think maybe it was Barry. I can't remember. I apologize if he's listening because maybe he's checking us out. But that he watches Raw like in a kind of a public setting, which would be pretty fun. And he knew about various indie things, and he was clearly
The Rumble will be fun to watch publicly. Which
yes. Well, that's what he was
we
saying. That I
are
think was it
at Smash.
one of the indie shows is running at the same time, basically as Rumble. Maybe it was GCW.
Smash,
No, the
GCW.
like a local, a smaller
maybe.
one. And he was like, "Who's gonna go to that when the night of the Rumble?" You know what I
Like
mean?
that's why Smash plays it really smart.
Yeah, we're gonna go
Do
to
it just before and also offer the viewing
yeah.
of it. Like that's a smart play.
Yeah.
Which
So
I think we're gonna do, which will be fun.
we are
'Cause
gonna
the
do-
Rumble's probably the only one I would want to do it with, just because it's the nature of the Rumble.
since we
it's
haven't
fun.
been to an indie show in so long, I splurged for front row so that we
Yeah.
don't have to.
That'll be fun.
worry about what time we get there and blah blah blah. So
Maybe
yeah,
it'd be fun
Smash
to watch Money in
Wrestling.
the Bank or something. Honestly, back in the day, I would have done that with like a takeover. It would have been really fun if we could watch
Yo,
like a
for sure.
takeover with.
Do you remember
Great.
what the card was for Smash?
It
There some.
was Jody Threat and Psycho Mike and something else.
There's a few people I'd heard of at least on the card.
Yeah,
so
I don't remember.
it'll be
honestly.
fun.
We'll figure it out. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Anything else you wanted to discuss from your week of approaching exams and?
Well, I guess I finally finished because I started like weeks ago. I finally finished 22 Jump Street.
Did you like it?
I love it.
I don't remember it.
It's
I think I
they go
saw
to
it.
college instead of high school.
Okay, that makes
And
that's more believable.
Wyatt Russell is
Who's Wyatt Russell?
Okay, never mind. But because I started a while ago and then I didn't finish it, and then so I probably watched only like half an hour of it before, so then I finished it with not restarting it.
Yeah.
Then I was like, I hadn't watched the first one in a while, so I watched 21 Jump Street
It's
the
funny.
next day. I really like it.
Yeah.
And then I watched 22 Jump Street again.
Which one's better?
I don't know. Honestly.
Really? Okay, it's close. So I would
'Cause,
check
like-
out the second one then,
Yeah,
because I like the first one. If
I
you're
really
saying
like
it's-
them both, and I feel like a lot of those kind of comedies get diminishing returns.
Yes. Oh, for sure they do.
And I don't think they did, at least. So there are obviously some parts of the second one I probably like better.
That's good.
And then the credits I really like because it's because obviously the first movie ends with like Ice Cube's like, you two sons of bitches are going to college, and then they end with that where he says they're going to medical school next, right? But then the credits are just them doing like medical school, flight school, instead of doing other movies, which is nice because they could have easily done a third, right?
Yes.
If they wanted to actually do 23
Yes.
Jump Street, they could have. But I kind of like that they
Because you and
didn't.
I just watched all of it or parts of it together because you were watching 21
Yeah,
like a
I
month or
watched
two
that
ago,
randomly, yeah.
and I caught it with you.
And then I watched Superbad at school yesterday because I was bored.
I love Superbad.
I like it a lot, but I think I like the Jump Street movies better.
Interesting. I like both. I probably like Superbad better.
I like Jonah Hill.
I mean, I haven't seen
funny.
it in a
And then
while.
this morning I watched like most of Anchorman.
You did?
Yeah,
Oh, dude, I would have done that with you.
I love watching it. It's pretty. There's a lot of stuff on
It's
Netflix.
super strange, but very funny.
It's very weird. And then I have on my Netflix list, I have a couple of different movies that have Seth Rogen and James Franco in it.
Yeah,
One of them is Pineapple Express.
I've seen it.
The other one is This Is the End or something, I think.
I've seen it.
Oh, also I want to watch Neighbors.
I've seen it. Your mom and I might have seen. I'm pretty sure we saw that in the theater, which never happens. We must have been killing time somewhere.
Yeah.
But
And
we
then-
watched it in theater, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
was
there's
funny,
a
I think.
bunch of good comedies on Netflix I want to watch.
Yeah,
And then
let me know.
a while ago, I guess we could. There's one movie I want to watch from like 2018. I think it's Jeremy Renner, John Hamm's in it.
Yeah,
And I forget who else. I'll look it
I
up
don't
right
know who
now.
that
But
first
it's
person
it's called Tag, and it's basically like these
Oh, yeah.
friends. Have you watched it?
no, but I know what it is.
Oh, Ed Helms is in it. Okay, I thought he was.
They like
but I
play
couldn't
tag
remember.
from childhood through.
Yeah. Oh, and Nick Miller's in it from New Girl.
Love him.
Him being the
Jake
principal.
something? John?
Jake Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I watched
people.
21 Jump Street for the first time when we were still watching New Girl.
Yeah.
And to see him as like an actual school principal is so weird in
Weird.
contrast. But
Because Nick Miller would never aspire to such a.
he's not that.
No.
Yeah. But it's like, yeah, they play tag every year. And the one guy, I don't remember. I think it is Jeremy Renner plays that guy, is the one that they can never tag. So they like team up for it.
Oh, yeah.
But it looks really funny and I want to watch it. But I think it was one I'd have to rent, which kind of sucks.
Make
but
a list
it's
and we'll
fine.
knock some off in the summer when we both have time or
Yeah.
something.
And I think I remember watching Hangover with Momo
Yeah, it's funny.
in the summer. I think.
And I think
Did I
2
watch
was
the
okay
second one too? I know 3 is when it falls off for sure. The first one's pretty good.
Yeah, it's good.
Kind of depends.
Well, we bantered our faces off here. So I guess that's it. We'll talk about. That's it. See you next week. No. I guess we get into the wrestling stuff now. We'll start out with the same thing as always, looking at some of the week's wrestling news and rumors. All right, looking at some of the ratings this week. NXT, remember last week? They were like
Was
over.
that the Redonkulous one?
Yeah, they were over 900,000 because The
That's
Rock
small.
was there. Good numbers this week still, but down. 779,000 viewers, down 18.6%. 0.17, down 32%. So a big decline in both for sure, but that's still really good numbers overall for NXT, right? Pushing 800,000, that's good for them. I would love that for Dynamite.
Yeah.
Dynamite got 679,000, so they're up 10.4% this week, and a 0.18 in the key demo, up 5% looks like. My notes are a little sloppy there, but and I fix it as you always do, even though there's no reason to, because I'll never go back to it. Still has to be right.
Needs to be pristine.
But it is the best TV viewership
Could
for
sell our podcast scripts when we're big.
When we make it huge, that's right.
I'll be selling these framed
officially.
Yeah, like these. No, they're like laminated booklets.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
So that makes me now. I'm gonna go into a little diversion here. Did we talk about Ghost Jam's suggestion about Eddie Kingston as the guy come to do mock? So we love Eddie.
I do love Eddie,
and there is awesome backstory with him and Mox.
I'm totally okay with that. If he's ready and
it's a little intriguing.
Too long, I'm totally okay with that because he's a guy who's believable as like an AEW guy through and through. He's king of the bums, right? Which is kind of like the opposite of Moxley's thing right now.
Yeah, has an axe to grind with Mox from various.
Right. He has an axe to grind with Claudio like forever.
Yeah, so
I'm totally okay with that. I just don't think the timeline lines up.
I don't know what his status is.
He got injured. I want to say it was in the spring. I remember it's like well over a year because remember there was two
issues
right. with his leg. So I want to say the timeline doesn't line up. If it does, I'm welcoming it. 100%.
I'm pretty intrigued by that suggestion. I'm not gonna lie.
Because Darby, I would love it to be Darby, but if he's too busy doing other stuff, that definitely hurts his case, which sucks. As much as I want it to be him and I want that payoff, but I'm okay with it being Eddie.
Yeah, sure. I hadn't really thought of it, and I'm like, if my reply to him was kind of like, I mean, it's probably in their best interest to elevate somebody new to a major and young. Eddie's new, but he's not for sure not young.
Which is Darby, right? So Darby's
right.
kind
but
of fits the bill better.
If it doesn't, like you're saying, if that doesn't line up, I think it's kind of an intriguing idea. So good feedback from people who listen. We should get more because we can discuss it. If you have things we haven't thought about, we may end up discussing it here. Sorry, it's your news. I stole that from you.
I told you about Tanahashi's final U.S. match.
Yes, you did.
For Windy City Riot, and that'll be against Konosuke Takeshita, our dear boy.
I assume he's old school and puts Takeshita over, no?
I would hope so. But
I would hope do the right thing, brother.
Either way, I think it's good for Takeshita, especially within his standing in New Japan.
Massive exposure.
If he's picked to be Tanahashi's, like, Takeshita's just got signed to them, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, he's still AEW because don't take him away from me.
I would love to know the details of that, but yes, go ahead.
But it's still like, yeah, with him only being there for less than a year, even like because his debut was in the G1, right? So even before he was signed, he's been there less than a year, and they're picking him to be Tanahashi's last match in the States. That's pretty big.
That is pretty big.
So that's good for him.
He's pretty undeniably awesome, I think. So
especially for their style, he's great.
Yeah,
because he's translated really well to here, but I think then obviously that means he's great over there. I think he has a match against Bolton Oleg.
Yeah,
at some point.
I don't know much about him, to be honest.
I don't really care, but
surprised.
I just want Takeshita back here. He did finally make his return to Dynamite this week.
He did,
in a big way.
In a very big way.
I'm excited to talk about that part.
Yeah, we will get there. Other thing I wanted to talk about, I don't know if we talked about it last week, but it seems to be ongoing and it seems to be everywhere, is the Corey Graves situation.
Yeah, I actually forgot about that, so I'm glad you brought it
up. It started out with him obviously being quote unquote demoted to NXT and then putting out a tweet about, so I think I was wrong in my assessment.
It being his dream, like he got demoted for not being famous enough or something like that, or told he's been too good or something like that.
It was a well-written tweet regardless of how you feel about it. It was something about like landing the job of your dreams,
because he was forced to retire
and being not allowed to do it anymore, finding a job that's adjacent to that and keeps you in that world and one that you happen to be effing awesome at or whatever, and then losing your job because you're not famous enough. So I think it's more a McAfee thing, and now I'm starting to think, are they building a Graves McAfee match? That's the is it a work? Is it a shoot? I hate using these terms. I apologize. Or have they? Is he shooting himself into a work?
You work yourself into a shoot and you don't even know when it's a work.
You can go the other way. If he's actually shooting and then they're like, "Woo, let's make money off."
You don't even know you're working at work.
Right.
Whatever Hogan said.
Which I hate saying these things, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, like people. I don't. Some people viewed it also as him trying to get fired.
I've heard that as well.
So I don't know.
I feel like, obviously I don't know, and this is where we add new rumors to the news and rumors and speculation. But it
could be a Nigel thing.
I feel like it's most likely leading to a match because he has been cleared.
Could be a Nigel thing, yeah. I don't know how good
he was. A WrestleMania like him against McAfee, something.
Is that really a WrestleMania match though?
For us, no.
Okay. Even for them, McAfee, yeah, I know they use his star power for shows like that, but for Corey Graves, I'm not sure.
And as someone who watched every week of NXT since it existed. I remember him he's fine in the ring. He's not special. He had a cool look at the time because he was like a 50s greaser CM Punk kind of vibe to him, but he wasn't like a phenomenal worker or anything. Another term I love to use. But anyways, so yeah, it's just been, I think most likely scenario is they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you got?
Speaking of people leaving and stuff, Malachi Black is expected to leave. I think his contract's either expired or up soon. He's expected to return to the E, potentially line up for Big Push, allegedly, as some influential people allegedly see him as a possible top singles act. I'd love that to be true.
Yeah, we quite like him.
And apparently he wants to go back, obviously, because it's no longer Vince. And I think Triple H was obviously a fan of him. And when Paul Heyman was like creative director of Raw or whatever, Heyman was also a fan.
Yeah.
Two people probably influential now, unlike Vince, right?
We've been big fans of him, but the more I see his social media interactions with or hear about it, I guess, because I hear about other people talking about it, makes me like him less.
Well, and he seems like not like Hogan, but more like he doesn't want to always do business. And
there are rumors, yes, that he's not
protective of his look, which I can understand, but like
to a point,
that's not gonna work in the E.
But to me, the ones I consider great, that doesn't matter. Like Ospreay and stuff like that. Like they can take a loss here and there, build somebody else up.
Yeah, you have to be strategic with your losses, right?
Correct.
And I don't know. He also, I think, was calling injury a lot, and he never developed a rapport with TK. Was the thing I saw.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I hope he goes back because if he's happier there, that's great.
Bring back his original theme song, and I'm good.
I don't think so.
Come on.
They're not going to.
It's the best ever.
It's CFOS, and it's
true. It's my favorite.
It's not. They're not going to. They love to just get rid of those themes, and like they won't even let Sheamus have his old theme, and people love that one.
Right.
So you know what I mean. But yeah, like, and I hope it means better things for King and Murphy.
Oh, you like a nice segue. I've got 2 out of that.
Trademark?
Yeah. Do you have that too?
I just know about it.
That Brody King has filed a trademark the phrase Hounds of Hell. So obviously immediately people are like, he's starting a faction.
If he has his own group, that's fine, but I kind of want him and Murphy to separate.
So I think so too. I think he goes, I would have him go by himself for a while, just start smashing mid-carders or whatever to build up that, and then start grabbing new people to follow him.
And I want Buddy Matthews to win a mid-card title.
Yeah.
I care more about him.
And Hart to
go away.
That's going to be much nicer. Go do something else.
No, she can just leave.
Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, why doesn't she just follow Pillman to WWE?
Oh, I thought you were going to be the other Pillman and be really, really mean.
That's dark.
Yeah, that
is dark.
Yeah, it was. I'm glad you recovered from the brink of that one.
Where's Griff Garrison?
That's Garrison?
Something no one asked.
Mr. Garrison.
Last I checked, him and Cole Carter, 2 dimes.
Oh my God, 2 dimes.
2 dimes.
Nice. That's a nice pull right there. I was like, I know the name, can't place him.
They were being managed by Maria Kanellis on ROH.
What is happening?
Maria Bennett, whatever.
Yeah.
Kanellis and WWE. God damn.
Do you have other news? Because I'm going to end with the one I'm excited about.
2 more.
Go, because I'm going to wrap up with the thing.
You want me to go with both? And then
yep.
I have one other thing maybe I'll talk about from SmackDown quick, so I'll just keep rolling. We talked about this at AEW Grand Slams going to air on tape delay on TNT opposed to being a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Because I guess they didn't want to do a live pay-per-view because then God knows what time it would be for us.
Yeah, because somewhere I was listening or something and it was like their next pay-per-view in March, and that's when I kind of got tipped off that it wasn't going to count.
Then I'll talk about this later too when we're talking about potential matches for that show. I hope that it's a decent amount of time. Like if it's a 3-hour TV thing, that'd be nice. Because it's not like it's Raw where it's 3 hours every week. Like a 3-hour one shot.
Although Raw isn't anymore, which is amazing.
Right. But regardless, I hope that the matches all get decent time. Like, cause I really hated the formatting of main event in December. It didn't feel like.
But it felt closer to the old main event. As someone who's around.
Yeah, but that doesn't fit in this modern day. Like that died out for a reason.
But I think they're giving you a taste of the.
But it doesn't work.
It's not my favorite, but I didn't hate it.
So that will be interesting at least, and then I guess our next pay-per-view is Revolution, and so I like this because then it doesn't force up the pay-per-view calendar, but it gives you kind of something special,
right?
Opposed to the Battle of the Bells TV specials, which mean nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see your return on NXT.
Yeah, I watched it. Who was returned?
I was at a house show.
Oh.
It's Lindsay Dorado.
Oh, I saw that. That's like,
Because he's
did someone
been a
return?
trainer. So I guess he
He's
returned to
a
the ring.
trainer?
Yeah, he's been
Oh,
a trainer
yeah.
since like a couple of years
I
now.
thought he was pretty awesome in the ring.
He's cool.
Remember we met him?
Yeah, I like Metalik better.
Where did we meet him?
I don't remember.
In a not random, but in a store.
Oh, right, because SummerSlam was there.
Is that what it was?
Right,
Was
yeah,
it like
it was before we went
Foot
to
Locker or
Takeover.
something?
It was something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually did forget
Lindsay
about that.
Dorado just there meeting
You
people.
gotta do the media rounds,
That
I
was
guess,
cool.
in like a Nike or a Foot Locker or whatever.
I thought he was pretty good.
And the last thing was, I know you're taking a bit of smack and you see the vignette for a returnee,
I did.
Charlotte.
I did.
Yeah.
And so it's in my notes.
I saw
for
her.
SmackDown.
She was backstage at NXT. You can barely tell it's her again.
My notes were basic. I didn't even, because they didn't show her full whatever, so you didn't really see her in the vignette. But my commentary that I was going to bring up was, one, it was all very on brand for her, and two, that's because she's like Randy Orton and she's always the same. Like, she just doesn't have range. Whether she's heel or face, I don't really know much difference.
The only time I remember her being different was when Dana Brooke was her lackey when I started watching,
Right.
because that was prime heel Charlotte, and that was good.
And then I went from being like, she's going to be the best women's wrestler of all time, right, to being like
I hate her.
fatigued. I don't hate her.
I hate her.
She's exactly Randy Orton for me. It's just
Yeah.
like, I know she's
Although
good
Randy
in the
Orton's
ring.
face looks the same though.
I know she's good in the ring. I know people or whatever respond well to her generally, but I feel
like they shove her down your throat more than Orton
They
because
do.
like they're forcing her title win record. And the
Now-
rumor is her and Tiffany at Mania.
if you tell me they're going to go with she and Andrade as just a super heel couple with her as the mouthpiece, I'm okay. I'm open to it.
They're not doing it.
But if they were,
if
'cause
they
they're
were,
watching,
I don't even think I want it.
it's a
though.
good idea. I think it could be so
they're
good.
gonna just put her back in the title scene, and I just don't
course.
want it.
Of
And
course.
especially because I feel like I really fear it's gonna come at the expense of strategy.
Does she win the Rumble?
No, I'm not saying no.
Mm-hmm.
And you think they don't want her as the first two-time women's winner?
Yeah.
And talking about her winning the Rumble, don't think I forgot about them screwing Baszler that year, okay?
Mhm.
I will never forgive them for that.
Yes.
She entered 30, looked like a beast, and still lost. And then her
That's
main roster debut was
That's
her
right.
going vampire on Becky Lynch.
And that's
Like-
what leads me to always say she was, for a time, I don't know if she still would be, the number one person I would pluck from there to AEW.
I would honestly...
When
like,
AEW was
you say
hot.
this about Io,
It's
and I
not
agree
now.
with you, but also for me, for Baszler, at one point, she was undisputedly my favorite women's wrestler.
She's awesome.
Because 2018, 2019 Baszler was the best thing ever. And
She
that's one of
was-
the things I loved about Black and Gold NXT was she was the best.
She was like a believable Lesnar type in that division.
She was always, in my opinion, better than Rousey.
I agree.
Mic work, character-wise, she had a better grasp on it. Her matches were always better than Rousey.
Her matches for sure. I
And,
enjoyed
like,
more.
Also, unlike Rousey, she's not, like, demanding to be liked. Because I
Yeah.
think Rousey got pissed when fans started turning on her at Survivor Series in 2018, and then like, cause I know Ronda like hates the fans. It's crazy.
That's a good recipe for success.
Right. So like, Baszler, her treatment will never not bother me because they
She's
dropped the
awesome.
ball there. But yeah, Charlotte's back. I don't want her back. I haven't missed her. I kind of forgot she was gone. I like things without her. So
Maybe she'll be on SmackDown. No, I guess not.
no, that was on SmackDown.
Yeah.
So, but transfer window. So
True.
Or
That got us Nia Jax this week. So I'm gonna get into. I texted you earlier
right
this
right,
morning
I forgot this is what it was.
to be like, hey, have you looked at the PWI Awards? And you had said no, and I said don't because we're gonna talk about them here.
Okay, let's
because
make it a guessing game. So
You'll think strongly. So yeah, we'll start out letting you guess who you think they are, and then they put the top 4, so I can give those as multiple choice, and you
I
can
always
try and
remember
pick.
that.
So I'll go from sort of least to biggest award.
Yeah,
I
kind of like
guess.
how we do ours.
So Rookie of the Year, they have 4 for each,
Oh,
and that
what? Like I don't even know what constitutes. a
includes
rookie.
men and women.
Like, would it be Mariah May? Is that even?
She is not on there.
Like, I don't even know what would constitute.
There is nobody from AEW on there.
like Javon.
No. 3 women, 1 man who is not in North America.
I don't.
You want your options?
Sure.
Carmen Petrovic,
What?
Jada Parker,
Jada Parker would make the most sense.
Kalani Jordan,
What?
Oleg Bolton.
Ah,
Who won?
it had to be Parker. No,
No,
Bolton.
Kalani Jordan.
What? That's ridiculous.
Did she not
suck?
debut in 2023?
Probably, but like.
But
maybe
anyways.
late. I don't know.
Okay, so there you go. Inspirational Wrestler of the Year. I'll just go straight to
Who was
nominees.
inspirational?
Zayn, Danielson, Jarrett,
It's Jarrett.
Rhodes.
It's Jarrett.
It's not Jarrett.
It's Cody.
Cody.
Screw
Inspirational
you.
how?
Oh, I forgot his baby ended racist. I'm sorry.
Forgot.
I'm sorry. That's on me.
He should get all 4 spots for that.
No, it should be him, Brandy, Liberty, because remember
the
his
dog.
and then Pharaoh. I was gonna say
I
Pharaoh.
knew we were getting to the dog. Indie Wrestler of the Year.
Indie rest. Cardona.
Number 2. Very
Wow.
well done.
Thank you.
Ready the rest?
Sure.
Ali Catch, Mance Warner, Mustafa Ali.
I'm gonna go with Ali.
It was Ali.
Okay, good for him.
Yeah.
You know, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Most Improved Wrestler of the Year.
Oh God. Oh
2
God.
of these are gonna grind your gears.
Just give me the nominee. I don't even want to try to guess.
Nominees: Obafemi,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Mariah May,
Yes.
Nia Jax.
No. No.
Wait for it. Maxine Dupree.
Oh my God. If it's Dupree.
It's not.
Is it
She was
Nia?
4th out of those 4, actually.
Is it Nia?
No,
Is it Mariah?
it is.
Thank you. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
I
good.
know. There's a couple.
Okay.
And
okay.
of course, Obafemi in there makes sense.
Nia Jax. We've literally said like she might be worse now.
This might have been the category that I was like, I really hope he hasn't looked at these yet because it's going to be fun. Comeback of the year.
Oh. Is Jarrett? Does that count?
No. Randy Orton,
Sure.
Mercedes Moné,
Is it Punk?
Liv Morgan, The Rock.
The Rock?
No.
Monet?
Liv Morgan.
I don't. Comeback really? I guess she did return.
Think
from
of all
injury.
the possible definitions. So you got Liv Morgan coming back from injury.
Sure.
Monet coming back from
injury. She was injured, remember?
I guess.
'Cause
And
she-
like obscurity overseas. I don't know.
Yeah, and then The Rock.
Orton, injury, Rock,
Hollywood.
Love it. Most hated wrestler of the year. This is not from South Korea, so it's not Moxley. They hate him over. That was amazing.
Solo?
Hate him so much. Okay, he's on the list.
That makes
Number
sense.
2.
Dom?
Number 1, correct.
Okay, so that makes sense.
You got 2 out of
That just
4.
makes sense.
Anyone else?
Like,
1 AEW, 1 with mainstream
AEW.
appeal.
I don't know.
Logan Paul,
Okay.
MJF.
Okay. That's a solid list, actually.
Most popular wrestler of the year.
Cody.
Correct.
That's not
Who
even funny.
else?
That's not even funny. I don't know. Sammy?
No AEW, but TNA is represented.
Joe Hendry?
Correct.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeet
Okay.
and
yeah.
Rhea Ripley.
Okay. That is not surprising at all.
Fun. Feud of the year.
Punk McIntyre.
1.
Cody Roman.
Not on it. I
Oh,
respect the
good.
second decision.
Is it Danielson, someone?
No. Right
Ospreay?
company.
Ospreay and someone?
No, what would we say is the best feud?
Oh, Hangman Swerve.
Correct. 2. Morgan Ripley,
Sure.
May Storm.
Sure.
Match of the year. This one's going to be a hot button
So it's
when you get number 1.
It's not Punk McIntyre then, because that's a
Punk
reasonable.
McIntyre is 2, and that
2?
is...
Is it Roman and Cody?
It is
I
Roman.
it's Roman. Like so many people pick that. I'm like, it's not a good match.
It's not even very good, no.
It's not like people over romanticize that because it's like, oh, he finished the story and everyone loves the bloodline drama, but it's the stupid million run-in bloodline match. Like it's not a good match.
I know.
There's like maybe like I want to say it was 14 minutes long. Like let me find it real quick because I'm just kind of curious. Like there was not a lot of actual wrestling there because Roman doesn't do that regardless.
Correct.
But like then
And
you
sometimes
have
it works.
but
Sometimes
this
it
then
doesn't.
you have like 52 interferences
You do.
and like
That's an exact number.
because remember this is the one where you have like you have Rock, Taker, Solo,
Yeah.
Cena, Jay, Jimmy. Like
I'm pretty
okay,
sure
this was
we
half
were
an hour,
groaning
never
through
mind.
it.
But like there was probably 14 minutes of actual wrestling. It was so bad. Like it's not a good match.
I knew you were going to feel that way. And then 3 and 4, you would not like disagree being on a list, a
Sure.
short list.
Is any Osprey on there?
Yes.
Osprey Danielson probably.
Yes, 4th.
Like Osprey Swerve.
Correct. 3rd. My match of the year.
Osprey Swerve or Swerve
Or
Danielson?
sorry, Swerve Danielson.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Faction of the year.
Well done.
Both of them got lumped together apparently.
crazy.
They didn't
I
differentiate.
guess because like one half was Romans, one half. Like, yeah, okay.
Keep going. Think WWE.
Judgment Day.
Correct. Number 3. Number 2, also from WWE.
What like Alpha Academy?
No.
New Day?
Think Spooky.
Oh, Wyatt's really?
Correct. And then
Aside from the vignettes, I disagree.
Blackpool / Death Riders
Okay, that makes sense.
together.
I would have put the Elite over Wyatt just based on how much they were around during the
Agree.
year.
This is the one that upset me. I told you.
Okay.
Tag team of the year.
So it's not Fraxium.
It is not. Fraxium came in third. Third.
Third.
That's
So are the Bucks here?
absurd. The Bucks are second.
Okay, that makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, they could be second to Fraxium.
Okay, sure.
Like I'm just saying that.
Okay.
Regardless of where Fraxium is, like Bucks being second
Okay.
in a vacuum makes sense to me.
Okay.
Because that honestly would be my second. Number one. It's not Judgment Day, is it?
Judgment Day's fourth.
Okay. Is it DIY?
No.
What would be a stupid pick?
Expand your mind past what you're thinking. Because as soon as I give you the hint I want to, it's over.
It's not Bloodline.
It's in WWE.
Is it Bloodline anything?
They compete mainly on SmackDown. No. I think. I don't see them on Raw.
Machine Guns?
No. Think women.
It's Belair and Cargill.
Correct.
That's crazy. That's insane. There's some
upset
like
me.
the meat riding is insane because that is in what universe are they even considered a tag team beyond like it's clearly just the Cargill pet project. That's it. That's ludicrous to me.
That's the one that upset me.
That is
I knew there were going to be
ridiculous.
many that would upset you.
That is outrageous.
All right, Woman of the Year is how they phrase it.
Tony Storm.
Correct.
I knew that one.
Yeah.
I did know that.
And then Liv, Rhea, Jordan Grace.
Mariah May not even getting there. It's kind of crazy.
Right, but those are fair. Like
no, those
if
are all
you
fair
don't have her.
picks. Yeah.
Wrestler of the Year.
Cody.
Correct. Any other guesses?
Osprey.
Third.
What? Roman.
Not on it. Surprised by two.
Swerve?
Happy about it. WWE guy.
Owens.
Think title holder.
Oh, Gunther.
Nice. And then Danielson fourth.
Okay.
But I'm sure it was. They didn't have the percentages on this one. I'm sure it was a runaway for Cody, obviously.
Yeah, because.
But anyways, that was fun. That was about as fun as I thought it was going to
Yeah.
be. So never look at those again. We'll do that every time. All right, so we'll get into an in-depth review now. We'll take a look at this past Wednesday's episode of AEW Dynamite.
Maximum Carnage.
Talk to me about some Maximum Carnage.
Maximum
I would say it was
Carnage.
kind of more Minimum Carnage. There's Carnage in the last match.
I'd
for
say moderate
sure.
Carnage.
Moderate.
Moderate
Tune
Carnage.
into AEW Moderate Carnage. I respect their honesty.
They're in something
Under promise, over deliver.
They're in something music center. I like the venue because you could see a visible balcony, like a la Hammerstein. Obviously not as iconic or noticeable, but like
I'm learning you're a sucker for a nice balcony.
it's a cool look.
It is.
And it's visually different.
Anything to make it not look like the normal stadium, right?
Yeah.
Just
And their
or arena.
hard cam was like on the stage side, so we're facing the announce table. I thought that was interesting, but also a decent look. And we had the ring level entrance ramp. Gotta love that.
And was that the
I
one
always
where
enjoy
they
that.
came back from break and they came in?
No, that's the other way, but that was cool. The
That
one
was a
match.
cool
I think it was
camera.
during Mox and Hobbs. Maybe they came through the crowd to
Yeah, it was
as
different.
the establishing shot. That was cool. And they had like a short ramp, but it's the one that's level with the ring apron, which I
Right.
love because it adds another depth to everything. But yeah, so the venue's looking nice, and I did see that it was sold out. So smaller place, but sold out. So I'm happy with that.
I didn't notice the crowd being super hot or dead. So
No,
maybe
so
it was
it
just
was
sort of
good
like
though,
a
but
moderate.
I'm glad that the attendance.
Moderate
Was
Carnage.
This is what they needed to do for their shows, right?
Yep.
Like smaller show, but sold out, and I think that's what you want. 'Cause
And
that's just
then I
better
think
for.
Next, you start pinpointing places where crowds are hot too.
And then you could, like, I know Chicago is usually a hotbed for them, so
Right.
maybe there you can run a bit of a bigger venue, right?
Mhm.
Some place you go small, and then you can kind of work your way back up. Because I do want them to be in, like, regular arenas like Raw and SmackDown would be,
Mhm.
but you need to kind of work your way
I
to there.
agree.
But and so I like this. I'm glad that they're selling out regardless of what the venue is, because I don't like having the big pockets of nothing on the hard cam
Yeah.
side. Even though you're not going to notice it much on TV, the sound will be better when it's sold out like this, right?
For sure.
So we get a Maximum Carnage, just kind of a hype package for everything. There's a recap of most of the Death Rider stuff to this point. Hobbs says he's been listening, and Mox said he wanted people to take initiative, and he stood up to Mox, and he cowered out. He says he'll make Mox his bitch.
True.
There's a hype reel for the other matches, like the Gauntlet match and Omega Cage. Not much to know here other than Hobbs sounded really good. He had a point, and he's kind of addressing what Mox is saying and making a point. So like between this and his matches, Hobbs has been looking money.
That 100%. My thing was he was the most notable thing about this is his presentation. They've quickly, like what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, built him into like a believable beast.
Yeah.
And we know he has no chance of winning the main event, but
That's fine.
and I'll say this again at some point today, I'm sure, they need to find a way to capitalize and continue his momentum. Because right now I'm like, this guy's terrifying, right? Like he's Hurt Syndicate possibility sort of, although he's kind of, is he a duplicate of Lashley a little bit? He almost
he's like
seems
modern
meaner,
Lashley though.
He seems like
he does. He looks meaner.
Like I can't see him rocking a suit like Lashley does. You know what I mean? Hobbs is more.
Could. I could
maybe
with it.
Anyways, he's super cool right now. It was the same thing I noted.
Yeah. Then we move to our opening match, which is Omega versus Brian Cage, and you were even saying that you kind of agree now, but like Omega's theme and entrance is just not a vibe for me.
It was that one time.
It fit for Wrestle Dynasty
Something
in Tokyo
big.
Dome, right? Fits a grand show, but Battle Cry, his old theme, that like the theme, because he used that when he returned at World's End.
Yeah.
And that just works more for every week, and if the theme feels like Dungeons and Dragons or something like that, you know what I mean, some fantasy grandiose thing.
It's the sports car you bring out in the summer, and you drive your other car the rest of the year.
Right. It just doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Cage hit a pop-up powerbomb, pulled Omega back up. Omega countered in a Hurricane Rana. Omega ran the ropes for a dive, but Archer distracts him, gets taken out. Cage decks him with a lariat. Cage got Omega up in military press and dropped him on the announce table. Then Archer and Callis are taking cheap shots while the ref is talking to Cage. They're on the ramp. Cage powerbombs Omega over the ropes back into the ring. See, like stuff like that. That the ramp is just allows for more fun. I always enjoy it. And even I just like when they're bouncing off the ropes when they're on the ramp, like they're in the ring, because it allows.
Yep.
Then you can just do more stuff, right? You could do an Oz cutter, right, on the ramp, just stuff like that. I remember Revolution 2020 in the greatest tag match of all time, Hangman hitting a buckshot to one of the Bucks on the ramp because he can.
That match was awesome.
It bothers me because I hope we can maybe get Max at some point, because once they make old stuff available, I think it'll be so worth it for us, because I want to rewatch that match, but I think it's too old, so I can't find it anywhere. Like I can still watch Omega Ospreay, which I did this past week.
I'm sure.
I can still find pretty much anything in the last year or two, and maybe a little more.
Yeah.
But that one's like I can never find it without it being. I think I found one that was in English though for some reason. Anyways, I want to watch that match again because it's been so long.
It's awesome.
And I just remember it being awesome, but I want to see it again because that was like the prime days.
It was.
F5 from Cage for 2. He hits Weapon X for 2, which is that pump handle in the sit-out facebuster. It's awesome.
Not a drill claw,
but a satisfactory consolation prize.
Because I think the drill claw he has to win with, so we don't see it very often. Because he doesn't win.
That's why we don't see a Black Arrow much either.
Correct.
Sunset Flip Powerbomb and a running knee from Omega for 2. He hits a pair of V-triggers and the One-Winged Angel connects for the win. After the match, he gets attacked by Archer. Kyle Fletcher comes down to join in, punches him right in the diverticulitis.
Yep.
Which is one of my favorite words.
It's a great word.
It's so
really fun to say.
It is very fun to say. Ospreay runs down to make the save. Archer, because he's the big old meat shield, takes a V-trigger and a hidden blade.
It's exactly what he is.
Big entrance for Takeshi, though. I like that, because Fletcher just kind of comes down to join the assault. But, like, Takeshi theme and everything, like, big palm.
And it's like you dealt with the putties, now the bigger guys coming out.
Hey, I mean, I love Fletcher and he's coming up, but
yeah,
I can't be mad at them making Takeshi the dude.
Yeah.
I mean, and Callis has talked him up as such because he is the alpha, so I can't be mad. Takeshi brawls with Omega. Fletcher comes from behind with a snap, half and half, and a Takeshi lariat. Ospreay fights back, is dropped by a Takeshi forearm shot, the world-class forearm. And, like, in basically perfect synchronicity, Fletcher hits a brainbuster to Ospreay, and Takeshi hits a Raging Fire to Omega. Like, it was pretty. The landings were really, like, timed perfectly.
Yes,
I was impressed.
Beautiful.
I thought it made them look super cool.
It makes me want that match real bad.
Oh.
And I think we're getting it.
I think so.
Good, hard-hitting opener. Expected result, obviously. I was a little surprised that Callis and them didn't cheat, as I thought there was a potential for there to be a lot of moving parts, but there wasn't, so I kind of like that. The post-match beatdown is on brand for them, right? And again, it gets us Ospreay and Omega together. and adding Takeshita to the mix, that's pretty close to like a dream tag match.
Yeah, and even though it's not like tag teams, they
I
could
was
be
just gonna
so good
say, and
though.
I'm gonna be a hypocrite here because I'm always like, oh, they just throw singles together as a tag team. But
But
this
the
is two teams of awesome singles, and they're not
right.
doing it to quickly take the titles.
That's what I was gonna say. Is it has nothing to do with the tag titles, so it's not killing the division or anything. It's just feuds kind of aligning.
These four guys in like a half-hour tag match could be
That's what I'm saying,
crazy.
right? And that's what I was worried was like depending on how many matches they book for Australia and how long it's going. I hope this gets the time it deserves. But this was a strong match. Like Cage is a
It
beast,
was.
and I think he always puts in a great shift, even though he never wins.
Never.
No drill clock, because why would I ever get what I want? But
Right.
Weapon X is a really cool move, I
It
think.
is.
Omega looked good, no signs of ring rust or anything, and he probably shook that off in Japan because he's like, "Oh, I nearly died, but I'm gonna jump really big on Gabe Kidd."
Oh my god, that match was cool.
Customarily good effort from both guys. The post match stuff was good. I'm excited. There's speculation. I got to agree that we're getting that tag match,
Mm.
Fletcher Takeshita versus Omega
Let's
Ospreay,
go.
which is like, yeah, it's pretty hard to top that in terms of dream matches for me because, like you said, Omega matches have that gravitas to it. Ospreay is king, and Takeshita is perfect, and Fletcher is amazing as well.
It's like four of our favorite guys to watch,
Right.
probably, right?
Exactly. Like, and I think Omega is not my favorite in terms of like a personal favorite, but he is one of my favorites
Match
in ring.
drama, can't beat
Perfect,
him.
right? Like that has
Even though
potential to
people
be
hate
in.
him, but
That's a potential to be an all-time tag match kind of good. Like
I agree.
that's it can rival the match I was just
Yep.
talking about kind of good.
Yeah.
Right? And it's got all the great moving parts. You got a faction with two guys I love. You got these guys who were used to be feuding, but now it's like enemy of my enemy
The
kind
mega
of thing.
powers.
Yeah, you're seeing mega powers but talented.
Yeah, exactly. Not no disrespect to Macho Man, he's one of my favorite ever, but the
But
other guy
yeah.
is trash in
Um
every sense, in
Pretty
every
much,
aspect
pretty
of
much.
consistent trash.
I imagine it gets penciled in for Australia. And I could see Fletcher getting the win for a hometown thing, but then Osprey maybe beats him in their rubber match. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes
Because I
sense.
feel like we're heading
And it's
towards.
a tag match loss, so it's not as damning as a
And if
singles
you want to
getting
protect
pinned.
Omega, Osprey, I'm sure he doesn't care about putting over Fletcher again.
And you could have Callus doing something as
Right.
well, protect it.
And because I
Not too much though,
feel
please.
I can feel we're building to the Osprey Fletcher finale.
Yeah,
I really want Fletcher to win that because I think it does him a lot of favors
solidifies.
again.
He's already kind of made.
Yeah, I think he got made off that first win. So if he takes a loss again, I'm not gonna hold it against them.
No,
Even though ultimately I'll be a little disappointed just because I
you could
want
have Callus
him to
play
go
into
up as
that too and cost
much as
him.
possible. Although I mean he beat Osprey clean the first time, so
Yes,
honestly I don't even want him to really.
right.
I would love Fletcher Osprey like 2 or 3 falls. That'd be.
That's a good way to end
But
it.
anyways, the match they're setting up could be amazing. If they get the time like at least half an hour, it could be amazing. It could go an hour, and I don't think I'd care. But it deserves as much time as they feel is necessary because it could be a legendary match. Like
Hmm.
I'm genuinely super excited for that. I wonder how we'll be able to watch it because if it's on TNT, I don't know. Like we'll
We'll
have
find
to,
it.
which sucks because
I will find a
I'm
way.
kind of inevitably gonna get spoiled. But
Yes, you will.
oh well. Anyways, then we get a Hurt Nick promo. MVP talks about lacing up the boots for the first time in 2 years.
No thanks.
They hurt people.
And I'm not saying MVP is bad in ring. He's
fine.
not Shelton Benjamin. But like I like him just specializing. The manager, the mouthpiece. I don't think his style meshes with the way the other two are presented right
Yeah,
now.
but I also don't care much if they limit it to multi-man tags. Like as
True.
long as he doesn't overstep his bounds, I'm not gonna complain a ton.
What I thought would have been funny is somebody that really wants to join Hurt Business, if they had been telling that story, they let him in for this one,
Like Ricochet, for example.
they win, and then they just beat the hell out of him. Like Redacted, another Redacted used to do when he was starting out in NXT. That's how he
Oh,
started with,
Lars
he would have
Sullivan?
tag partners, and then he would just kill them afterwards, and it was
Yeah,
actually and then I think they all unified and fought him in like a four-way
and
or
he like
something.
killed them. Yeah.
It was a really interesting path. But anyways, like that would have been kind of
Yeah.
fun.
So yeah, this is fine. I don't really need to see him, but as long as he just kind of sticks in the multi-mans with Shelty and Lashes, then I don't really care.
Right.
Then I wrote Jericho still does the New York thing, even though we're long past the Hammerstein shows. And then I'll read you my notes. I don't even want to bother with this. I thought he was gonna address why his group is teaming with Mox's, and then he didn't really.
My only thing, I've learning tree. Intentionally cheesy jokes that I guess they think are effective somehow. because I don't even remember what they were saying. I just know it was super cheesy stuff.
I refuse to acknowledge it much more.
Yep, it doesn't get oxygen here,
No.
unfortunately.
We hear from Ricochet next. He's in suit glasses, kind of has the
I think that helps.
he has the Dahmer look.
The presentation is good.
I saw someone like compare it to a picture of like because I think there was some show based on Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yes, there
And
was.
so it looks kind of he couldn't look.
And I also
like
think
that.
people are like, he's a dork, right? So he's trying to like somewhat embrace that.
Yeah. He gets relentless boos and Swerve's house chants. He says a picture's worth 1,000 words, which he's not good at communicating, obviously, because
That's why that's self-awareness.
Yeah. And the picture of him with Bloody Swerve goes up on the Tron. Swerve's music hits. Nana hits him from behind with a chair. Swerve comes out with a chain. Ricochet runs off. Swerve falls him through the crowd, and Ricochet runs off outside.
Do you remember what commentary we're saying?
No.
Remember Excalibur goes, is Ricochet going to stab all of the booing fans? And then
Yeah.
Taz goes, it would be fine if he stabbed one of the commentators.
Oh, yeah. That was
Welcome
pretty
back,
funny.
Taz. Yeah. Is it possible that somehow, even though he didn't say a lot here, like his awkward
I think that's
speaking
smart,
style
yeah.
helps too? Like it makes him more hateable
Yeah,
because
he's
it's like you just don't sound comfortable.
well, it's because he doesn't sound comfortable. He's doing like these horrific things, and then you can't even back it up by
Right.
talking about it.
And the suit and glasses work for me, and the crowd.
Because he's like doing the Hurt Business look, even though he got rejected by them.
Right. Oh, that's true too.
Right?
Yeah. And the crowd hates him so much and loves Swerve so much that this could be a really hot feud.
And
right?
I thought it was a smart way also to not have him say much and have him bask in the heat he's
Correct.
been getting, right?
And I did point out that Swerve sort of forgotten about the Hurt Syndicate stuff because remember him and Lashley were in a bitter feud, and like I think this is hotter.
Yeah. And I think this came.
And like I said,
maybe it'll circle back around.
That's what I'm saying. This guy stabbed him with a pair of scissors, so that's kind of his priority right now.
Yeah, and Swerve came out and he looked like a badass too.
He does.
So this should they're putting this on Dynamite in a couple weeks. I'd be surprised if we didn't get a pay-per-view rematch because I feel like it's a pay-per-view worthy feud. So I say we could maybe get the first one on TV. Ricochet wins via shenanigans or something, and then we could get like a pay-per-view match and like some sort of no holds bar match. Because I feel like with a visual as striking as the scissor thing, you have to go with some sort of brutish match. Maybe not Texas Death because that's Hangman's thing,
right?
And he's doing one with Fallen Angel, but you do some sort of match.
It just feels like an efficient, well executed, like upper mid card feud, and some of those are my favorites. That's always been my wheelhouse, right? Like just it's not simple's maybe to not right.
And this is what they need with the women's division is like some effective feud that's has nothing to do with titles,
right?
It stemmed from a tournament, but it's not actually for
and they
anything.
Can do that with Willow and Statlander and keep them.
Megan Bayne if they keep her.
Yeah, man. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. But anyways, I like this. Like Ricochet's been crazy good. It's actually crazy.
If you had told me that this is where we were heading when he signed, I would have given you amazing odds and taken that bet still.
Yeah, I would have bet
so I'm very pleased when things work out like this.
And that you didn't bet the money.
Yes.
Then we get Monet package. She's shown carrying her titles around. She did some talk show. She went to a jeweler. She's training. She has 4 belts. Money changes everything. It was fine for me. It just felt like a way to show off she has 4 belts now.
And it wasn't a live in-ring promo, so I was okay with it. Like when you produce the stuff for her and she gets multiple takes and stuff, like this is way more effective for me than her live.
I feel like it was just to show off her belt collector thing, whereas Omega, he was on TV with them.
Right. Yeah, it was fine.
Okay, and then we get the Hurt Syndicate in their entirety versus Mark Briscoe and Private Party. And like they're still decent lower in their entrance with the shots and it just sucks that they're and like I'll talk about this later.
Ineffectual champions in a long time.
And I don't think it's their fault because I think they are good. I just don't think care has been put into them.
It's the presentation and it's the timing because it feels like it went, oh damn, Hurt Syndicate are hot.
I agree.
Right?
Like I don't think their reign sucking is indicative of them because I think they're good and I really like them still.
And I feel like the AEW's intentions were there to try and elevate them.
I think so.
And then it just became, this is what the crowd wants right now.
The pivot with Ricochet, except this time it's coming at the cost of someone.
And there's something to be said to like listening to the crowd and the fans. If they're into something, you strike.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. It just sucks that it's coming at their expense. And
it does.
If Private Party could find a decent third, I'd like them to maybe go trios because I like them and I want them to do things.
What is trios? There's a division?
The belts
There's titles?
The belts are in like a briefcase.
Oh.
I imagine the belts... I want them to start doing so they have the world title in a briefcase, right? And then I want them to have a big duffel bag for the
Yeah.
trios belts.
And so when you have a division that you drastically underuse and stuff, what's a great idea is
Take
to
the belts off
hide
TV.
the titles away so no one sees them and you can easily forget they exist. It's really smart. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Even though your champions are on TV this week.
Yeah.
Technically. And they're on TV most weeks. Hurt's gonna get attack as the bell rings. Lashley hits Briscoe with a spinebuster on the apron. MVP does his like people's elbow Jason thing where he does like the ballin'. The crowd chant was on point. Like
It was. They were ready.
It was audible for that. I actually really liked it. Like I hate moves like that, like people's elbow.
Same.
Or the worm.
Yes.
Or the caterpillar.
Yes.
Or LA Knight has one now.
The Cobra?
The Cobra. No. The Cobra's funny. Well, because the Cobra's not.
That's a legit fighting move.
That's a legit fighting move.
That's an MMA move.
Well, the Cobra, it's also not like, oh, I'm gonna run, stop my momentum, do a little, and then doing a thing, right? Right, but that's when people are like getting up at least. He's not like halting his momentum. You know what I mean? He could just do this, and the strike would be like. It's not.
It's fair.
It is comedy, yes, but inherently, anything he's doing is not halting the effectiveness of the move. It's like The Rock is doing all this pomp circumstance, or a 5-knuckle shuffle too. Also stupid. So it's just all these running, stopping, taunting, dropping moves are stupid. But I did like that the chant was at least like...
Yeah. It was in the chamber. They were ready.
Yeah, they had. So, I mean, good for MVP. That had to feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing with him wrestling here, that I just kind of thought about that I have to mention is, I remember when he returned in the Rumble in 2020. It was the Lesnar Rumble. Redacted. Remember the one where he like chucked that. That was a good Rumble. Yeah. That was a good Rumble. And remember he returned in that one. I remember that was because I remember he told the story of him and his kid looking at the wrestling figures, and like his kid asked about him or something, so he wanted his kid to see him wrestle. And I have to wonder if that's maybe coming into play here, like getting his kid to see him wrestle again, maybe in another company, right? Because they mentioned here he hasn't wrestled since whatever match in WWE he had, right? Because it's been well over a year. So I have to imagine maybe there's something like that. And so that's why I imagine he probably won't be wrestling a lot. It'll probably be in matches like this. And so I have to imagine that's probably part of it.
I enjoyed his original gimmick in WWE a lot. It was like...
his entrance with the inflatable tunnel is really cool.
Because I was into every sport, right? Like NFL. And it was like they had signed an athlete. They were treating it like that. And he was just like a cocky sort of athlete that chose wrestling kind of thing, whatever. It was fun. I liked it.
Zay hot tag flurry, then he tags in Quinn. They get tandem drop kicks on all of the Syndicate guys. Briscoe with the cannonball through the ropes to Lashley. Quinn hits Benjamin with like his own pay dirt for 2, which is kind of weird. Lashley hit a big exploder suplex to Briscoe on the floor. Benjamin chucks Zay with a German suplex, and then he gets smashed by a spear from Lashes. Benjamin hit a German suplex and a super kick to Quinn for the win, which I thought was a weird finish.
I did too. We both kind of surprised, like it's suddenly over, but off of a super kick.
He does have great super kicks lately, but it hasn't ended anybody.
I thought this started out slowly, and then it turned into a pretty good trios match, which we don't really see enough anymore. But the match was good, but again, the tag team champs are not booked to look strong here at all, right? They got in some nice flurries and some offense.
And
but
it's good that the Syndicate looks dominant, but again, it's coming at the expense of...
At the end of the day, Private Party got dominated for stretches, lost clean to a super kick. So I was like, why not have Private Party pin MVP here? Since I imagine if this title match happens, don't Hurt Syndicate win?
I imagine so.
So why not give Private Party that? And I don't think anyone expects MVP to be amazing in ring. I thought, it kind of... But anyways, I just can't see them making a decision to stop or slow down the Hurt Syndicate's momentum. So if that tag match happens...
Yeah, 100%.
Right? So interesting, like the match, as you just said, in a vacuum was pretty enjoyable. But in the larger picture for the Private Party, it's not great.
Yeah, solid match. MVP is okay. Not any better than I would have expected, but not like a liability, I guess. Private Party looked good in a flurry, and that was about it. Hurt Syndicate dominated them, which is good for them. But like you said, at the expense of the champions is not good. Private Party haven't looked like strong champions in the program, and they haven't had a ton to do. And I like them a lot. Like I said, I don't think this is their fault, but the run hasn't panned out, and they just haven't been given enough.
That's right.
Which sucks.
What we said before.
I had high hopes for them, and I'm more so for the bookings. Like I said, I think they're talented in the ring, and like they had really good matches with the Bucks.
They did.
And I didn't watch the Action Andretti Leo Rush match, but I'm sure that was good.
Yep. They can be fun.
Like they have good matches. They have a cool entrance and theme. Their entrance is over, right? So I don't know. They just haven't. I wish they'd put stock into a tag title feud for either Full Gear instead of that 4-way, or for they were completely off of World's End. Like you could have had more stuff for
Sticking with the World's End,
World's End.
Good.
It's funny.
Yeah.
And like you had no tag title match there, and no Garcia title match there, which I don't really care about, and we can talk about that later.
You will. It'll probably come up.
But I didn't like that there was no tag title match on there.
Yeah.
For sure. Because that's like, with Garcia's belt, we have Takesha's belt and the Continental title were there. So it's like you have your mid-card title matches.
So many belts.
But with the tag titles for me, or even the trios titles, that's the core of a division. So I feel like it takes precedent on a card.
That is a very fair argument.
And so yeah, neither of them being on that show is. And so that's also with WWE, their tag titles never being on a PLE is kind of crazy, because it's like you have now 4 women's belts and you only have 1 tag title per show. So for me, again, those are taking precedent.
Representing specific divisions is a great point.
Right?
It should make them more important.
And so to go on a bit of a tangent, I imagine
a further tangent.
The new women's belts will probably be on PLEs here and there. I don't think
in WWE you're saying?
Yes. Yeah. Like the women's Intercontinental or women's US titles for Lyra and Chelsea respectively. I don't think they need to be on PLEs much, because I think like a lot of the people who are going to be holding those belts are probably not PLE worthy, because I think the whole point of those is that people like Chelsea,
Lyra,
or
like
Michin,
both of them, yes,
or like those people are not worthy of the main title, but
yes,
like you want an accolade for them, right? And for Lyra, I feel like it could be also like because the Intercontinental title has always been a stepping stone.
I was just gonna say,
also be that
if they could establish. Selfishly, I would do the same. Like the IC becomes the one where we think you're good. This is the stepping stone, and the US is more like you're a good hand or you've been loyal or whatever. So here's
I think
the title
it could
run.
be either way. Like, both of them can serve both purposes. I'm just saying, like, then therefore they don't need to be PLE belts most of the time, right? And then the women's belts, the main ones, I understand if they're on the card, but depending on the champions, I don't think they both need to be on there. Like, we had, for example, Bad Blood. Your champions are Liv Morgan and Nia Jax. They did not need to both be on the same show. Those were the only 2 title matches on that show, remember? Because it was them. Yeah. And then it was Punk McIntyre. It was the Cody Roman tag match. And something else, I think.
I think in a perfect world for me, those secondary ones are defended a lot on TV.
Yeah.
And the main ones, the storylines are built on TV.
And
then
that's
payoff
totally
at pay. That's I think.
And then you need room for the tag time matches, because why DIY and Machine Guns, for example, shouldn't be on a pay-per-view? I don't know. Like, they should definitely be there.
Yeah.
Right? The fact that they haven't been on a PLE since Mania last year is crazy to me. And again, just add 1 or 2 more matches. Like, I think 6 or 7 matches on a pay-per-view is fine. We don't have to be holding to this 5. And I don't want a crazy ass long WWE event again.
No.
With 1 million ads on every match.
That's how they do.
I do want some more bang for your buck, or quote unquote, but like just to have more matches in there instead of being beholden to, like, it basically makes it so it's really hard to have a feud. Like Punk McIntyre is an outlier because there's so few matches on a show and so many titles. Like pretty much every show has to be. I remember their concept for Night of Champions was that every title is defended, and now it's like every match is a title match on every show. It's just not all the titles are there.
Right.
But I don't know. Anyways, titles. We got rated FTR package. It was just like
they're best friends.
Yeah.
I have my notes are their best friends. Oof, wrong there. I hate myself right now.
See, that I would change because I'd be ashamed of myself.
I know if
ditch the evidence. Ditch the evidence.
Whoever buys these, when we're famous, does not need to know I used the wrong there.
English
That's
teacher.
Gross.
The English teacher.
I hate myself right now.
Crazy.
I'm upset.
Then we hear from Jeff Jarrett, and I'd want to just crawl into a hole.
Yeah.
So he gets. You'll see the difference in notes and which person I like here.
But at least it's the only time we get him. Oh no, wait.
Oh, so wait. No.
We get him again, but anyway,
Jarrett gets interrupted early by MJF. MJF trashes him for turning him down, says he'll be a Hall of Famer if he retired tomorrow. Not Jarrett, MJF. Jarrett has the fans convinced he's a legend. Jarrett's last outlook, he's the last thing you see before your favorite promotion goes down under. That was pretty funny. That's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
He takes a jab at Jarrett being a recovering alcoholic, which I thought was funny, which is mean, but I don't care.
He was kind of doing getting his Christian on here. Yeah. Just super personal attacks.
Yeah. For the health of AEW, he'll send him back to rehab where he belongs. He brings up Karen, calls her a MILF, and says when he's done with her, Jeff will learn what a generational talent and Olympian's balls taste like. That was awesome. I love that a lot. Jarrett, he's just yapping about like you guys passion back in the and yada yada. He was MJF before MJF was MJF. Yeah, can't hurt him. It's all been said before. He calls MJF's mom a call girl, and he must have thought that was such a genius line because he brought it back when talking about Alicia Atu, the Canadian interviewer who MJF is dating. Calls Max a scared little boy. One wonder, chance go again, which is so lame, feels so forced, and so like old man. Like he just thinks like I swear to God he thinks he's spitting venom and it's just like ugh. MJF says they're nothing alike. He didn't need his daddy to make him a top star. MJF made MJF, and when he was on top, they hit 82,000 attendance at Wembley. They had record ticket sales. He said he was screwed out of his title and he had his name dragged through the mud. He said he needs the title back to shove it down the fans' throats. He says Max says because Jarrett was friends with Owen Hart, he thinks he's owed some grand finale.
Yeah, and that's just a bridge too far. Or
that's not
Owens.
Wrong though.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like, remember we were complaining about last year. The only reason he's a babyface, at all, is because of Owen Hart.
Yeah,
it started because he was randomly babyface in the tournament. Remember?
That's great.
Because the inspirational
just
thing with Owen Hart,
180 out of nowhere.
That's all
Owen
it is.
Hart makes me good.
I can guarantee you that's all it was because I don't have no memory of anything else. He calls him a leech riding the coattails of his deceased friend, which is kind of harsh, but again, I don't think he's wrong.
Yeah.
MJF mentions Owen's name again. That's just too much. They brawl.
It's like
Karen
the Jay
comes
Briscoe
in.
effect.
It is. MJF uses her to escape. So it's a colossal waste of MJF. It's so dumb.
And it's all just cheap shots, of course, but at least they're funny, and that's the only entertainment I'm getting.
Right. He's so much better than Jarrett, and also a current top guy opposed to a washed one from decades gone by. MJF has so much to offer, whereas Jarrett hasn't for so many years now. MJF did spit some solid venom. Like, I really enjoyed some of his lines, even if it's cheap. Like, I thought it was really funny. And it would be more enjoyable if it was spent on someone that he could have a worthwhile program with, which Jarrett is not. And I cannot stress that enough. Jarrett pales in comparison, and in his prime, I don't think touched MJF promos. So even here, he's not entertaining or interesting. I don't care how many times he says he has a reignited passion, or how he wants to be AEW champion, or how he panders to the crowd. Part of my language, I don't give one solitary shit. Like, it means nothing to me, and it is so incredibly unappealing. MJF, and I think he looks so dumb having, obviously MJF's, I think, just period, a good actor. So I think he looks dumb having to act like Jarrett's mediocre spiel and insults are affecting him. Whereas Jarrett, the whole time MJF spitting these lines, which I think are pretty killer, and Jarrett's just standing there back, smirking like it means nothing to him.
And what's MJF's end game here?
I don't why does he care anymore?
I thought if they went down the path of I'm an evil whatever, and I'm gonna,
I think that's what his plan was.
Champion,
but now it's
they've leaned away from that
because Jarrett turned him down. So now he's just, I don't know. MJF had better lines for me, and Jarrett gets to it's kind of like the Punk effect for me, where he gets to just act like it's nothing, and he's so cool and he's better than it. Then all of his lines get a huge reaction.
I don't want it at all, but I think MJF should still be doing even if you don't want my help because you're a babyface, I'm going to be lurking and I'm going to be doing stuff to help you.
I think they gave up on that once they decided Jarrett's going to say
now
no.
It's just MJF.
Now it's just a feud.
Insults old man.
Yeah. It's so boring and pointless and undesirable. I just want more than anything for Jarrett to go away, and I need this to stop. I don't want him near titles or anyone that matters.
I wonder what the general reception to this is. What's consensus?
It's positive.
Okay. That's disappointing.
It's gross. I want him to leave. Yeah. It's so bad. And every segment he's had this year has been a worst of contender for me.
I kind of have a running file on this arc.
My last line was Owen Hart appears to be his Jay Briscoe.
Right. Exactly. Great. Yeah, we have the same mind for sure. Yeah, I already mixed my thoughts in. We don't need to talk about it any longer than that.
That is valid. Move on. We do not need to give it more oxygen until it shoves itself back down my throat again.
Yeah.
Then we get an Okada Ishii package because they have a match on Collision. Excalibur narrates their history over highlights, basically, and then we get a match graphic. They have a match on Collision's Maximum Carnage for Okada's title. It's fine and brief. It'll probably be a cool match, but I will not watch it.
Don't even remember that. Don't have it in my notes.
Okay. Then we get Christian Cage versus Hook.
This I have.
Hook attacks Christian during his entrance. Christian tries to reason with him. They hug, but Hook turns into a belly suplex. Inverted DDT from Cage for 2. Flying forearm from Hook from the apron. 3 frog splashes from Christian for 2. Patriarch are trying to interfere. Shibata stands against them. Christian takes him out with an inverted DT on the floor. Hook takes out Wayne Sabian. Hook locks in Red Rum. Wayne Sabian attack for the DQ. Beatdown continues until Samoa Joe comes back and bitches out everybody.
Let's go.
Sabian included, 100%.
Your Sabian, you compared him to who?
To JD McDonough.
It's exactly right.
I don't, that comparison brings me no joy, but I know what JD McDonough.
apt.
I know what McDonough is.
Yes.
It's I hate it, but
he's JD McDonough with 2/3 of the head, because you can't mention JD McDonough without making fun of his large head.
mentioning like a Funko Pop, right?
Exactly. The match I couldn't really get into.
I agree.
Was dragging, and it's not helped by the fact that I don't really care about the story coming
I
in.
don't care about the story, and for me, like, Christian's probably one of our favorite characters in recent memory.
Yeah.
But in the ring, he's
He
kind
won
of hit or
character
miss.
of the year, I think, for me.
Probably, yeah. In 2023, I would imagine, right? I never expected claim from him, but like some of his matches, like the no DQ ones with Copeland, were good.
Yep.
Right.
And Hook's just sort of like, with us and the crowd in general, that connection seems to have dwindled.
I think he is definitely a Nepo
Yes.
star here, and I think for me, he had a couple good matches, like namely the Samoa Joe one, which I was saying to you was a year ago yesterday.
Yeah.
But he generally follows a formula, which I'm kind of tired over.
And I don't think he, like, to say he gets exposed in longer matches like this is a bit
harsh,
too far, but I wouldn't say he shines either.
I don't think so, and
he's just kind of settled into this. He's undersized, he can't really talk, and he's not.
Yeah, his character doesn't have that much depth either, which I think is kind of critical if he's trying to ascend.
When he was silent and mysterious, and he had short matches where he just suplexed people,
right?
Kind of cool.
But like I said, it gets formulaic.
It did. On the other hand, super thrilled to have Samoa Joe back.
Agreed.
Love him. With him and Omega coming back within weeks of each other, for me, that's like two top tier guys you have.
I agree. I think we need to move away from Death Riders, but at least on a star power standpoint, the main event scene looks great because you have Mox, Omega, Ospreay, Joe. I'd say Swerve's in that echelon.
Yeah.
Maybe Fletcher.
So, you know what? Now that we're talking,
Jay White.
You're talking about Death Riders. Samoa Joe would be a believable option to just immediately come in and go, "What the hell do you think you're like?" You know what I mean? And just
I don't think
Mox.
Joe would ever win.
If you needed him to, if you really want to pull shoot on the Death Riders, I'd be fine. Because Joe's run was awesome.
I do think his run was awesome, but that was also as a heel, which I think he would. Need to
underrated
back to.
too.
My underrated of the year.
Yeah.
And for me, like, I do love Joe. I just don't think I'm not just looking for someone, like, I want more of a storyline payoff to ending the Death Riders. You know what I mean? Like, as hit or miss as it has been, I think the beginning of Death Riders was really good, and it set up a big payoff. And like I said, I want them to be ravaging the roster again, because that was the thing, is like that they're just trashing the roster and trying to incite this violence in them, which, to his credit, again, Hobbs shows later on, right? And commentary mentioned that, like, Moxley was trying to incite this more active violent side of the roster, and that's what Hobbs is doing. So Hobbs is doing what they're supposed to, like Cassie as well, right? Back when he was feuding with Moxley. And so I want him to start, like, beating up lower card guys again, and just I like I said, when they're in the ring beating up people and holding the ring against a bunch of goobers, right? Like,
now they're kind of like
just attacking the people they're feuding with,
and a little bit of chicken heels too, because they run away from Hobbs and stuff.
From Edge.
Yeah.
From
Edge.
Honestly,
Edge and Hobbs.
Run away from Hobbs is fine, because at least that's building his aura.
He's believable.
I don't want you running away from FTR and Copeland. No offense. Right. But I miss Death Riders being like, I think that's part of where the fall for their storyline is for me, is because I think the promos are still good, even if it's sometimes a little vague, but it's because his vision was to be these bully heels, like this brutish vision of being the roster into changing, right? But he's not even doing that anymore.
I agree.
That's
the first
my
2
thing.
or 3 weeks, we were like, yeah, let's go.
Even like the first month or so, when he's
beating
beating up the roster, and then you got these impassioned promos from Evil Uno, and I'm like, all right, we're getting Dark Order up there a bit, right?
And it felt like they have an order of, like, you're working your way up the roster.
We just haven't been doing that.
And it stalled somewhere.
Right, because the storyline we started with was something where that's why I want it to be like Darby or Eddie, where there's some sort of story payoff to someone beating Mox. I don't want it just to be, oh, they're ending the Death Riders, but like Darby has something to gain to finally beat Mox, because he never has.
Yeah.
Eddie could overcome Mox again, even though he did at the first C2. Doesn't matter. But I want something there, right? And
a payoff.
So Joe, for me, to circle back to here, doesn't fully serve that purpose for me, as much as I do love him.
But could they build it into one that does?
I don't think it would hit the same
Okay.
personally. I would. Now, I don't know if they will because I know the plan is Okada Omega all in. I don't know if Okada keeps his belt till then because I don't know if Omega needs it
Mm-hmm.
because it's the Continental belt. Like, does Omega really need that? Unless you want to pad out his resume.
No, he doesn't.
Because I'm saying that's a great belt for Joe to have.
But I could see Joe being like, I've been sitting off injured watching you idiots do this and start picking them off.
I think it would be a good story.
Picking them off one by one, but not successful at the end.
Yeah.
Gets to final boss, doesn't.
That's fine. Like, I agree. Like, he could be a great story for them. I just don't see it as, like, the one.
And Hook could be his little lackey, I guess. But
that's
so Christian's the one that forklifted him, right?
No, that was Jericho.
Oh, so he's not even going back to that.
It's just because he's affiliated with
It was
Hook
Learning Tree.
It was Learning Tree.
Mix them in my mind. At least I can say the last time Hook was interesting was with Joe. So while I think Joe is bigger than this,
I just don't care about that. I just want to see what Joe does, not what Hook does.
I love Joe.
I do like the trio of him, Shabbat, and Hook, though. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's fine.
Then we get Casino Gauntlet recap from last week. There's talking heads from White, Undisputed Kingdom, and Garcia. White talks about Yuta screwing him. Cole talks about the match having the best. And O'Reilly, for some reason, takes umbrage with Garcia. Because, like, Cole's listing the best in there, and he mentions Garcia, and then Kyle O'Reilly's kind of like, huh? Which is valid.
I'm like, you're right,
Kayfabe is just weird, though.
Yes.
Cole says they'll hold gold this year. Garcia says stuff, too.
It was a quick way to, like, remind us of the direction for some of these people, right? I think is all it was.
Yeah, the Switchblade promo I saw on Instagram, and I always love his promos. I'll say it every time.
Yeah.
I really love his work, so that's not a lot to say there. I thought Kyle O'Reilly's hostility towards Garcia was odd, but not unwarranted. Like yeah. I'm kind of over it.
We were saying, like, I'm kind of done with Garcia.
He's a great wrestler. He's just not interesting.
Is he great? He's very good. I don't think he's great, but
That's fair.
Just like, I don't know. They tried now. We kept saying, you got to try. You can't just stop. And so they followed through, and
maybe it was just too late.
And you know how sometimes we're like, it's not the guy, it's the writing. I think maybe it's both.
I agree because I think his wrestling's good, his character work is okay, and then the booking's not there. Hasn't been there.
don't. If this was us experimenting with him as a champion, we did it. I'm not on board.
Give it to Shelton.
Correct.
Give it to Shelton.
Yep.
And I think there were a couple times to make him more interesting. I think he should have beaten MJF last year, or even earlier. I think he should have joined Blackpool when they were doing that storyline with
way
Danielson.
back.
He shouldn't have stayed in Jazz.
He was
for
a
that
great
long.
fit for that.
I think he got killed by being in Jazz for that long, and I forgot about Jazz, so I'm so glad I remembered now. But then there's that, and then just him losing so much.
Who's better off right now, him or Yuta? Because that's comparable.
Yuta. And I don't even think Yuta is like.
I don't disagree.
Amazing, but I think Yuta.
But Yuta was recently at the infancy of Death Riders really interesting to us.
Yeah.
Can you say that about Garcia ever?
No.
Right.
And I would say, furthermore, Yuta had an interesting storyline with Blackpool too, where he had the match with Moxley and Rampage,
which was awesome.
But then he joined.
Yes.
He joined them, and his career went up.
So multiple times he's been more interesting than Garcia. Like Garcia danced, and it was funny.
Right, and I think him and Garcia traded the Pure title, which doesn't mean a whole lot, but Yuta also held that more if you really want to go there, right?
Because I think they were like both could have been in Blackpool at the same time, similar, comparable, very.
Yeah,
I think a fair comparison.
That's a good point. And Yuta, I don't even think is like the best, but I think he's pretty good. I honestly enjoy him more in the ring probably, and I do think he's more interesting, especially with the Death Rider storyline. So, that is a good comparison. Actually, and I didn't think about that, but
thank you.
Yeah.
Once in a while, you know.
And then I hope Undisputed Era do stuff because I'm really happy that Trio's operating again. And they could breathe life in the Trios division. I was saying to you, if they weren't like the only worthwhile faction in Black and Gold NXT, that would have been cool belts to have. But I'm really happy to have that group cooking. Even if we just have O'Reilly and Strong as a tag team, I would love them as your tag team champions because, as I said last week, you can't go wrong there.
You cannot.
They're probably my favorite tag team.
In ring, awesome.
Just so good. And Cole, honestly, if you can find a way, just turn them heel. Make them Undisputed Era again. I don't care if you rip it off, like, as derivative as you can be. Just do it.
And, yeah, you could do trios for sure with them.
Trios. You could do mid-card tag titles, world title tag titles, just something.
Yep.
I don't know. Just do the thing I like.
Do the thing I like.
Then we get Jeff Jarrett again. Dustin Rhodes is here.
I literally skipped past it. I think just wishful thinking. Like I've already got my cursor on the women's gauntlet.
They
just jumped right over from.
They've been up road together. They're both old. He backs Jarrett. They're the last of their kind because they're both old.
More Jarrett, first of all, and
So
then
self-indulgent.
you add Dustin Rhodes. What are we doing here?
This is like a main event adjacent storyline.
I don't understand.
I ignored most
I
of this
did-
because for me, the visual of Dustin Rhodes holding 2 titles in a major promotion this year is insane, and I also hate the storyline.
To use another wrestling word I hate, but I'm going to use it. You did pop for the up and down the road because you love that. It's such a like.
That's our favorite
check.
show.
Got it.
Because it is more of a staple in the women's
Guys,
division, but like
they're all sitting in like the writer's room going, how can we link these two guys together? Hey, up and down the road.
traveling.
Can they coexist? Which one? We got a scale in front of us.
I like how he had to say he's backing Jarrett as if he's like. It's almost like I would have assumed Dustin's backing Jarrett. It's almost like him calling it out brings into question whether he's obviously doesn't, but like.
And
you know what I mean?
Dustin swore twice, so you know it's serious. Right?
But not so serious that he didn't wear face paint for a match he's not having.
Too much of my time taken up watching and discussing this.
Normally, I don't take an issue with it, but I just thought it was funny. He's like trying to have this overly serious conversation with Jeff Jarrett, and he's like, just half his face is blue.
With that half towards the camera.
Yeah, that's what made it look weird to me. It's like, because for me at least, like Jeff Hardy's not wearing his face paint when he's not wrestling. Even some matches he doesn't have face
True,
paint. You know what I mean?
true.
So it's funny to me. Granted, Justin's not painting his whole face, but I don't.
I just saw a squash match with him on YouTube against Razor Ramon when he was 16, I think it was.
Right, because he lied about his age, didn't he?
Right. He did sold pretty well in that, I thought.
Yeah.
Even at 16.
And when he can move.
That's younger than you. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Getting whipped around by Scott Hall.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Then we get the women's casino gauntlet for a women's world title match in Aussie.
And a wrestler joins commentary, and it's good.
It's awesome.
It almost never
Mariah May's on
happens.
commentary, and it's awesome.
She is, even the very first thing where she talks to Shivani, and remember the face she makes when, I can't remember what he asked her. She's so funny.
Yeah.
Talented girl.
It was something like, how
Woman,
can you
sorry.
be so beautiful and whatever and be so mean?
Yeah.
I think something like that.
She's funny.
Hater and Statlander start.
Great
Smart.
idea.
Falconer from Statlander. Then Megan Bain enters next. Now, so the
Never
lore
heard
on
of
here
her.
I do have here. It's so she was here. It's a return to AEW. She was signed in 2023. There are creative pitches for her last year, though apparently at some point it emerged she wasn't contracted. She had 4 matches on Dark and Dark Elevation in 2021. Notably,
Which commentary pointed out, and I don't think helped her presentation.
but
It's
it's not a
them
big
going,
deal.
hey, we used to book her in job matches a couple years ago.
Couldn't have done that. I mean, she beat Layla Gray.
But,
And then she has suffered a torn ACL. Sidelined
okay.
for 9 months. In 2023, I think it was on Rampage. She had a match with Emi Sakura against Maki Ito and Willow.
I don't remember ever hearing about her, which is
I
rare because
honestly
I'm a
didn't know
nerd.
she was ever around.
But I'm glad she exists
Yeah.
after seeing this.
She debuted for Stardom amid the talk of her return. So she was in Japan until January of last year.
Right.
She's become a staple on American Indies, most notably in GCW actually, where she's been pushed pretty heavy. And it's not known if she's signed yet. I hope she does get signed though.
Yeah, me too.
But so she enters next. May complains about her not having a graphic, like she's not signed, and so I thought that was kind of funny.
She's much bigger than Statlander.
She's taller than Statlander. She's
Stat's
like bigger
big.
than Statlander. Flying clothesline Statlander from Bane, and I told you, I said in the moment, and I wrote it down. I'm already 100 times more interested in her facing Statlander than Camille.
Which I think is also a fair comparison because they're that powerhouse.
Well, because they already did it.
Camille was
They already did it, and it sucked.
rough. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's just gone. I don't know what the deal with that was.
Seems
but
to have just disappeared.
I don't care. Really nice Falcon Arrow to Statlander from Bane. Gets a 2 count. Julia Hartner's next, and I groan. Hater suplexes her on the ramp. Statlander connects with the roundhouse and a Pele kick on Bane. Bane comes back with an exploder suplex. Willow enters next. May is not a fan, and then I said I'd also like Bane versus Willow.
Mm-hmm.
Willow and Statlander hit a tandem suplex on Bane as their beef is just gone, I guess.
I think it was only in that moment, and that puts over Bane too. Is like they had to set it aside for 5 seconds to hit a suplex.
Because they're doing this thing where Statlander's wanting to make amends. Why?
Oh,
It still doesn't make sense.
it's a story, I guess.
Like, no. She did a 180 like Jarrett. It makes
And they
no
did
sense.
share a glance after but then they immediately fought each
Chop
other.
fight, Stack gets pounced. Tony Storm enters next. She does this thing where like she does a snapmare to someone, they'll get back to their feet and she shoulder tackles them.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of lame. Statlander runs, hits a cannonball off the ramp to Willow and Bane. Harley Cameron enters next, and my favorite line, it would be great to wrestle. She says it'd be great to wrestle her in Australia so we can leave her there. And
Yeah,
I
that was
couldn't agree
funny.
more because I don't know why she's there, but that made me laugh really hard. Haybreaker to Hart, then Cameron rolls Hater up for 2. Hart missed Cameron, hits a flimsy sidekick to Statlander, hits a weak basement lariat to the back of Cameron, then Storm rolls her up with an inside cradle for
That
the
must
win.
be my Jack is upset about Hart's lack of in-ring prowess.
Hart's not good.
Another funny line that did you mention when Hart comes out and then someone attacks her on the ramp?
It was
Hater.
Yeah.
And then May is like, at least we didn't have to see your whole entrance or whatever.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny too.
Yeah, May's really funny. Thoughts?
I thought this was a fun gauntlet match.
These matches are good.
Action aside, you had like, it felt like sorry, what's her name? Megan Bain and Stat just had this like like Bane's debuting, I'm going after the alpha female. Give me the biggest, strongest one,
And
right
that kind
away.
of puts over Statlander.
And Stat's like, oh, hell no. So I like that. And then you had Hart hater stuff continue, however you feel about it, right? Like it's a smart
story.
Usage. And to
Willow
stuff.
I get, even though I don't like that either.
And even the May Harley Cameron stuff is sort of
May
all
Storm as well
being dealt with, right? So I don't know. Like it makes sense that, and yes, of course, it's like how do they pick who's in this? And it doesn't seem very random. I don't care. This is a smart use.
And I was saying to you, again, I like that they acknowledge that the intervals are just whatever, because WWE essentially does the same thing. Like WWE does.
I timed it one year.
They
at
do,
least 1 year.
They do their entrances within loose guidelines
Very
instead
loose.
of like
several minutes difference though.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. At least with this, they're not even pretending like it's gonna be.
Nope.
Like.
And I said it's like you have them lined up at Gorilla with like a ski racing gate, and whenever the thing opens, one just comes out.
Yeah.
But
because like they didn't record this week, so we're watching it watching illegally. And
completely
we're able to watch through commercial breaks, and so for example, there's no entrance to the entirety of a commercial break.
Yes.
Which if this were a Rumble, for example, that'd be weird. But here it's like at least they're not pretending like it's gonna be like regular. So I can appreciate that they're not gonna bullshit to us, right? But I enjoy this. I always really like these matches. It wasn't as good as the one last week. I thought that one was done a lot better, but I didn't expect that. Like it was still really good. I thought Statlander and Will looked great, and for a first outing, Bane looked really cool.
I'm very impressed.
She's like a taller Statlander, and she was sick. I don't think she's signed yet, but they need to nab her because I thought, like, literally off of this match alone, I would be fine if she took the title from Monet. Because, like, I don't know if she's world titled yet because I haven't heard her speak and I haven't seen her character work. But, like, off her in-ring stuff, dude, I would give her the mid-card title easily.
I was like, from a distance, it looked like large Britt Baker.
Beefed
so, like,
Britt
she'd be
Baker,
the heater for Britt.
She's like taller
For
Statlander, but like similar style. And like I said, I've always said I really love Statlander. I just want a character for her. So if Bane's as good as Statlander, dude, I'm all for it.
Baker's the Shawn Michaels and Bane's the Diesel.
That's what they try to do with Monet and Camille, and then it just sucked.
Bad, real bad.
It just sucked. I would love heel Baker again.
Mm-hmm.
That was the peak of the women's division. 100%.
It was.
Cameron and Hart were wasted spots, opposed to like why not Sheeta or Deeb?
Well, Cameron and May have that thing going. That's
they don't though. It was that one segment last week that sucked, and they had a one-off match. It was just like talking about like you could have ignored that completely, and it would
have made you happy.
Nothing. It wouldn't make me happy. It would have changed nothing for May though. You know what I mean? Like it's not a story worth servicing at all.
Yeah.
And to have like someone like Sheeta or Deeb in there, why not Aminata if you want someone lower card, right?
Love Aminata.
Like have Aminata in there, Perazo. Even Taya.
Wore her shirt yesterday. Today I got Masha.
Taya maybe, I don't.
Masha was on NXT, so I wore her shirt. What do you have?
I don't know.
Better than you, baby. Nice.
But yeah, Storm winning makes sense. She's part Aussie, and the storyline's there. The finish was not good, but I'm fine with her winning. Like the results, again, fine. Like Hobbs.
Who wins May Storm in Australia?
I feel like it's too soon to have May lose.
Me too. Partly because I don't want her to, and partly like subjectively and objectively.
And for me, I
feel like it's too soon.
I'm not entirely sure the payoff should be Storm winning the title back. Just because I don't know.
What else is there?
I vote we put over someone else, either Willow or Statlander.
I know.
Are my two front runners.
Yeah.
I lean towards Statlander just because I want her to be better.
Yeah. I was telling you I was listening to Post Wrestling, and the one guy who's not on all the time was filling in for Way, and he said, I can't remember, I'm paraphrasing, but I knew you would agree that basically like the women's division is stacked, like has a lot of really good talent, and they're putting so much energy in a story of does your former
champion remember playing a 60s Hollywood actor? Or
right. Does your former champion and pretending she's pretending she's a rookie. So either she is delusional or is she going to remember being a pretend movie star? And that's like the focus. He said it better, but I'm
No,
like,
but
yeah, that makes sense.
exactly. So I hope they do some work with the story so that it's good in the build up. But I want more May.
Yes,
I
me
want her to
too.
lose it at all.
She was really entertaining here.
My ideal scenario is we build to a kick-ass feud with her and Statlander at All In
Mm-hmm.
in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I think it should be Statlander. We just need to develop her personality more, and I think she's good to go. Because in ring, I have zero doubt in my mind that her and May would be a kick-ass match. Because May has good matches. Statlander and Monet had sick
Yes, they
matches.
did.
Statlander and Willow had sick
Yeah.
matches. Right? So
Stats great.
I think Stat's awesome, and I'll keep saying that because I want them to push her more seriously. Because I think that's an easy. Obviously, I think Willow is a perfect babyface. I think her work as a babyface is fantastic. But I think if you want a top babyface, Statlander is also a really good pick.
They just need to get her to have half the character Willow has.
Right. It just needs something. I don't understand why they don't.
I don't
'cause
either.
It feels easy to me, and I don't think it's been to the point where there's been segments that prove like, oh, Statlander is horrible as a character, and we can't do anything with her.
It just feels like
It
there
feels like
hasn't
they-
been opportunity.
I agree. I feel
Yeah.
like she hasn't been given the opportunity. Anyways, good match. Main event time. It's Moxley versus Hobbs for the AEW World Title. Last time this match was bad.
It wasn't.
Um,
Oh, that was the
The
injury
last
one.
one, yes.
Yeah.
Mox, I thought it was kind of cool. He did his entrance. He's coming from outside the arena in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was just kind of cool.
Yeah, different.
And he has like a hoodie that says Cincy because he's from Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'll talk about that a little bit at some point at the end.
Why? Because they're cheering him a bit.
A little bit.
Yeah,
It made for an awkward.
little bit, but I kind of expected
Well, I'll
that.
say it now, and you have the other guy working more heel than you by eating your face and making you bleed everywhere.
That was kind of weird.
It was an odd dynamic for
But
your.
like I said, I guess he's going vicious like Mox wanted.
So this is your psychotic leader of a super mega heel feud, and he's
he's
kinda,
a chicken heel now.
and he's kind of baby faced in his hometown. It was odd.
No, he's a chicken heel.
Anyways,
We'll see that later. Suicide
He
dive
is.
from Mox, some crowd brawling. Hobbs bites his earring out, question mark. I
Yeah.
wrote Mox bleeding out first, bleeding from the ear, a different story.
and they tell us Hobbs has been shot and stabbed, which I was like, wow. And I think they're being
do remember
legit.
that because remember he did the
Like
book
I know
of,
his
remember he was
upbringing
doing the
wasn't
Book of Hobbs
easy.
thing.
Yes,
and he did.
and
I
they
swear
pulled
he
the plug
talked
on
about that.
pretty fast.
Yeah, because remember he had that weird ass TNT title. Remember QTV?
Yes, yes, I do.
He,
Yes,
I don't know why.
we don't mention that.
we
Poor
do not.
Hobbs. He's on the upswing right now.
Yes. Cutter from Mox. Hobbs countered a Death Rider and hit a World's Strongest Slam for 2. Avalanche.
World's most dangerous slam.
Yeah.
How dare you?
That's like the standard of excellence, you know? It's like the adjacent.
Yeah.
Smash contraption, you know? Same vein. Avalanche Slam from Hobbs. Mox locks into Juji Katami. Hobbs counters, gets to the ropes. Hobbs is on the ramp. Mox has the ref distracted. Yuta runs into the Psycho knee. Then Mox went for a Death Rider, but Hobbs came back with a Spinebuster. He broke off a sleeper hold attempt, took a briefcase shot from Shafir. Mox rolled him up for 2. Paradigm shift for another 2 count, but then Mox gets choked out. Mox chokes him out in the Bulldog choke. And so Hobbs took a lot. Then he gets beat up after the bell, some chair targeting with the knee, and then rated FTR chased off the heels.
Mm-hmm. So I already talked about how I felt about the weird dynamic. I actually ended up liking the match.
I thought it was good. It was much better than the last one.
The ear biting stuff, I was kind of like, I get you're going for a certain image and whatever.
I just thought it was a weird choice.
Like, why wouldn't, if I'm the size and strength of Hobbs, I'm not wasting time attacking your ear. I'm just picking you up and throwing you around and beating the hell out of you. But he ended up doing that for like the final 2/3. So I thought it was pretty good. Good main event, not great. Like, there's no universe where Hobbs wins, but the story was kind of like Hobbs avoiding the Death Rider a few times, right?
And I think he
kicking
looked
out of
good,
it,
taking a lot of stuff at the end, right?
right? Kicking out of
A
the
briefcase
Death
shot,
Rider
too.
and a case shot is a compliment to him. So he's, again, a ton of momentum for Hobbs, even in this loss here. So I just hope they keep it going for him.
Mm-hmm.
So the match was good. Post-match stuff doesn't really
Don't
interest
care.
me. So
Yeah, the ear spot was weird, but the visual was crazy with like
Mhm.
the bloody ear and then
and all
his-
down his chest
and
from
like
his
half
ear.
his face, yeah, and then all the blood on the mat was from that. Hobbs looked great again, though. I think it got off to a slow start, but by the end he came out looking good, and he got to kick out of a lot of big stuff, so that makes him look good since he was never gonna win.
Correct.
And yeah, a lot better than the other match since there was no injuries here. Post match stuff I didn't care for because I don't want the Copeland feud still.
Right. Overall thoughts, I guess, time, eh? I like the show. Haven't really put any thought into.
I'm
I'm gonna go with gut. My gut says it's a B burgeoning on a B minus because of all the Jarrett.
I might go in the middle ground because I thought all the matches were good. Like I don't think there are any really bad matches here.
No, I like the
So I think
gauntlet. I
that
like the
helps it out.
opener. I like the main event. So I could say a B. It's a B show for me.
Like I would almost lean towards a B plus, but the Jared definitely holds it back. So I think every match is good. Like the opener is good. I think the trios match is pretty good. The casino gauntlet's really fun. Actually, the only mess that wasn't great was Cage and Hook, but it was pretty minor.
Right.
The gauntlet match is good, really good, and then the main event was also pretty decent. And then like the Ricochet segment was probably my favorite segment. I think.
Me too.
The
That's fair.
opening package was kind of cool, just for like a hype bit. I actually, if we want to count as a segment, the post match stuff in the opener was really great, and I'm excited. Jericho not good. The Jared stuff really does hold it back. So I thought that segment was bad. MJF saves it
And
a
then
little
they
bit,
circled
but
back around to more of it
then they
too.
came back to it, right? So that was definitely bad. So it's definitely a B show. Like it was good, but could have been better. It's just that Jared stuff being such a prominent thing is gonna hold back a lot of shows from getting a higher rating.
It sure is.
Because I feel like this isn't gonna stop soon either. So
I'm afraid not. Okay, so we'll take a break from that. We'll talk some trivia right now in our segment called Off the Top of His Head. So this week you're going to have a time limit even. We are going to nodq.com. They put up some quizzes and they update them every now and then. So this is a new Royal Rumble edition. And you have 20 questions in, sorry, making sure that's working. 20 questions in 3 minutes and 16 seconds, I guess, in honor of somebody who won a lot of Rumbles. But it might be a question, so I won't say because you might not know. So I did it. Maybe I felt rushed because of the time frame, but I did it and got 10 out of 20. So you'll definitely do better. You ready?
sure.
Because you only have 3 minutes and 16 seconds. But I don't think it'll be a problem. First ever winner of the Royal Rumble.
Hacksaw.
So you can also have the options if you want. Okay.
Yeah.
Who was the first woman to compete in a men's Rumble match?
China.
Correct.
It would have to be.
I got those right as well. First person to win 3 30-man Royal Rumble matches.
Austin.
That is why I
Only one.
assume the quiz is after him. I got that one as well. Who was the first 30? Sorry, who won the first 30-woman Royal Rumble match?
Oh, that was Asuka.
I got that wrong. You got it right. What was the first year where the 30-man Royal Rumble match had the WWE World title on the line?
1992.
I got that one right because that's the Flair one, right?
That is.
Who were the first 2 co-winners of a Royal Rumble?
Bret and Luger.
I got that one as well. So did you.
I think they're the only co-winners too.
Who did Shawn Michaels eliminate to win the 1995 Royal Rumble?
Bulldog.
Wow. I didn't.
That's the one where he's hanging from one foot, and that's why they mentioned 2 feet
that
every
wrong.
time.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Who was the first person AJ Styles competed against when he debuted at the 2016 Royal Rumble?
Roman.
Wow, I did not get that one, obviously.
Because I remember his music is in Roman's like, he's squinting.
Who raised Roman Reigns' hand after victory in the 2015 Rumble?
The Rock, and they still booed him.
Right. What was the first city to host the Royal Rumble event in a stadium? Here you want options?
Phoenix?
Not there. So Detroit, Atlanta, New York, San Antonio.
San Antonio.
I don't even remember. Yep. I think I guessed that one right.
It might have been 2017.
Who eliminated The Undertaker from the 2002 Royal Rumble?
Maven.
Yeah, I got that too because that's such a bizarre
like his
thing.
only thing.
Who holds the record for the longest time spent in a single 30-man Royal Rumble match?
Oh, is it Jericho?
It is not.
Is it Rey Mysterio?
It is not.
Oh,
Mysterio. So I'm going to click Mysterio because that was one of the options.
Okay.
It's Gunther.
Oh, right. I forgot he set the record.
And it's up to date. Who is the
That's my
first
first one
person
I
to win
messed
the
up.
Royal Rumble match in the number 30 position?
First? Was it Taker?
30. Yeah,
2007,
it was.
Baby.
We got to go because you only have 3 minutes. Who was the non-wrestler celebrity that entered 2001?
Drew Carey.
Correct. I got that wrong. I said Pete Rose. Who won the first 40-man?
Del Rio.
Got that right too.
Love him.
Who holds the record for shortest time in a men's match?
Oh, Santino. Right.
Got that one too.
Almost slipped on that.
Who is the first person to win back-to-back Rumbles?
Hogan.
I did not get that one. You did. Correct. You're at 17 out of 20. Who is the first woman to win the Royal Rumble from the number 1 position?
Oh, was it Belair?
No.
Ripley. Yeah.
Which wrestler eliminated 13 people in the 2020 Men's Royal Rumble?
Lesnar.
I got that one
It has
as
to be
well.
Lesnar.
That's the one. It's already come up. Who holds the record for being the Royal Rumble runner-up more than anyone else?
Big Show.
No, Roman Reigns.
Oh, really? Oh, right. Because he's had a crap load of them.
So, You scored 17 out of 20, which is what, 85%?
I don't
It
know.
is.
I know.
It is. You can't do that quick math?
No.
Wow.
Why would I know that?
Because you multiply 20 by 5 to get to 100. So if you multiply 17 by 5, that gives you your percent. No. Sorry, math's happening here. The average is 72, so you did much better than average, as I expected you would. All right, back into talking more wrestling, whatever we watched and wanted to talk about from the week. It's Highspots and Restholds. All right, this one's kind of special because I feel like you watched, and I started with All Right. Damn it. Remember, I always start with All Right or Okay. I've been trying not to. You watched a good chunk of what I watched. Like, since you stopped watching NXT, you actually watched a lot of Raw and a lot of NXT this week. So you're more informed.
I know I watched some.
You're a more informed contributor to this segment, so that's cool. Starting with Raw. First thing, it was only 2.5 hours this week, and that is great. If they are smart enough to know we only have 2.5 hours of stuff this week that's worth putting on, you know what I mean? Versus we're gonna fill 3 hours no matter what.
It is kind of interesting that they're like just kind of
I like
winging it.
So it starts out with a Punk in-ring segment. He's declaring he'll be in the Men's Royal Rumble. Talks about his win over Seth last week on Raw. And then Rollins interrupts to say that last week's match was the worst of his career and he's disappointed in himself. Rollins said he'll win the Royal Rumble. Drew shows up to insult Rollins, complain about Roman Reigns. And then Drew sort of backs away from the two of them wanting to fight him, I guess, and said he'll see Rollins and Punk in the Rumble. Punk made lots of references to Cena, right?
As if that's not going to happen in some capacity.
Right. Rollins said he'd rather be the worst version of himself than the best version of Punk, which I thought was funny. Drew said that Rollins and Punk are basically the same. The only difference is Rollins admits the piece of crap he is, which I thought was also good. So at the end of the day, right, this is just a see you in the Rumble thing, but it's three guys
who
more have recent history and can all talk. So I thought it was a pretty good version of that kind of standard formula. I think the main reason you turned into Raw and then you just lingered was Penta because he was up next, right? So he beat Gable by pinfall, Penta's WWE debut already. He won with the Penta driver. Your thoughts on it?
I like the move.
I just saw he posted today that he has the number 1 and 2 selling t-shirts right now.
No surprise. I really want his hoodie.
They're cool looking.
I really, really like it. I'll look at it again.
So this match, I didn't think they meshed super well in the opening minutes, and
I think they found their footing though.
I think so too. By the end, I thought it was good, and I thought it was interesting they chose not to just have him dominate somebody. Gable got a lot here.
I kind of like that.
Me too.
And it helps out Gable a little bit, but I thought it was good. Like Penta, he got to sell a leg injury. He hit like a lot of signature offense. Yeah, Destroyer that looked awesome.
Got good reaction from the crowd. The Destroyer was
really over for his
Destroyer was beautiful, and I was surprised he's allowed to use it.
Yeah, he was really over they tend to like Destroyers more than a straight pile driver, I find.
Yeah, I don't remember the theme.
He was really over though for his first match, like in a company where I wasn't sure that everyone would know him.
Yeah, he's I agree. He definitely got a good response from everybody. Then he grabs a mic, right? And a little bit of English, a lot of Spanish, and apparently San Jose is like 30% Spanish speaking, which is why so many people were able to connect with what he was saying. And I didn't understand a word, and I didn't care. Interestingly enough, it was still a cool promo
because he's gonna be more comfortable, and it's gonna help him sound better.
And his kids, if they're crying at ringside,
that was cute. Right? If they're gonna let him, then I'm more than happy with him speaking his language. Like when Takeshita speaks Japanese, he sounds awesome, so I don't care.
And even though there wasn't subtitles, you still understand that he's basically just happy, ecstatic to be there, and passionate, whatever it came across, right? I heard he wasn't supposed to. The Spanish part wasn't supposed to happen.
I heard that he went longer than expected. I know that. We could both order a Penta hoodie, and then you get free shipping over $79.
That's great. So Penta way cooler as a heel, but
I'm just glad
with the merch he's gonna move, it's gonna be a while.
It'll be a while, and they put so much in this. I'm really happy with it.
Me too.
I'm not sure if it'll stay like this. So on this, for now, I'm gonna be happy because they made him look bigger than he ever has in AEW.
Yes.
Which
and
is
for you to
great.
say that as an AEW loyalist.
They just put a lot of effort into him and like actually made him feel like something instead of just trotting him out for a match that's
Like the
gonna be good.
Penta Oscuro that was like
That
terrible.
was effort, but not good.
No.
And then most of the time he was just looking cool, not doing a whole lot. But now he's like, there's actually some stock in him. So I was happy with it. We'll wait to see what he does. If he goes in,
Yeah, long term we'll see.
if he goes in LWO, I will crap on it
I
immediately.
feel like no, the way he's presented.
I feel like not,
and
but
received, right?
I
That was the
don't-
test.
I don't fully trust him either.
Fair. We have not, all the wounds have not healed from the last 20 years or whatever
Yeah.
for us. Dom gets Liv flowers. Liv acts like she's not still mad at Dom, but she probably is, I think. Balor says he's going to beat Damian Priest. Balor says they'll get the world tag titles back
Such a
too.
bad feud.
And it's kind of like he can see that Liv is not happy with Dom, and he's telling Dom, like, you got a lot to learn, because Dom thinks things are fine, I think, is where we're going. But they've just lost a lot of momentum, right? I don't really care that much.
Well, it's just because now they're trotting back the same Balor Priest feud again for another match. Like,
well, although I think this was the finish of it.
it has to be, yeah. But of course, Balor's not going to win anything ever.
No. Sheamus defeated Kaiser with a brogue kick after 9 minutes. And then he confronted Breaker after the match, and I think what's his face, McAfee, almost screwed that up, because he was coming over. Sheamus was coming over to stare down Breaker, and like,
no, I think he was going to talk over McAfee, because
and
then
McAfee
it's
just
like,
kept going and going.
yeah, but then it's like he's talking to McAfee, Breaker stands up, and obviously it's supposed to switch over, but I think then McAfee went too long.
And the mic picks up Breaker going, climb over the wall, old man, which I thought was funny, because Breaker looks badass there, right? Like, he's not afraid.
Yeah, 100%.
I like the match. It's the brawler technician kind of vibe that I enjoy.
Should be winning, though.
I just wish Kaiser could win, yeah. For sure. And we've seen Braun and Sheamus a lot, it feels like, but their interactions have been good, and I'm fine with running it back. Do you think Sheamus could win? When do they tell that story?
Mania. I think
Okay.
I think with how much they built up him getting his final
So is it
title,
off Breaker at that point still, you think? It lingers that long?
I feel like it's worth just keeping with Breaker so they can have a decent run. Like, I say we run this match here, and Sheamus goes back down the line. Breaker gets a few challenges in here and there on TV, on a PLE, whatever, right?
Sheamus works his way back.
Sheamus works his way back up, and I think I think this is probably the year we get that Mania moment for Sheamus, because I think if they're putting the time to mention this story over and over, you want it. It's the kind of thing that needs to be as grand as it can be.
Right.
So I think it's going to be at Mania, right?
Okay.
Because it's not like, maybe if they were planning a PLE in Ireland, but I haven't heard anything about that, right? So, and
Yeah,
they
I
could
think
be,
that makes
because
sense.
they've been going all over the place. But I think all likelihood it'll be Mania, and then if per chance they went to Ireland, he could be champion, right?
Right. Yeah, that seems possible. I thought a cool backstage interaction with Zayn and Rollins. Zayn's trying to be like friendly, right? And if you want to talk, then I'm here for you. And Rollins says, yeah, it was a rough week, I guess, referring to the loss, right, to Punk.
Yeah.
And a great week for Zayn. And then it's funny because he's like, great week for you, right? Because Roman Reigns got the Ula Fala back, and he's the tribal chief again. And then you helped Reigns with that, and you helped him win at War Games. And he wonders out loud if Zayn would help Reigns win the Royal Rumble and then help him beat Cody Rhodes, right?
It's got a point.
Rollins wondered if Zayn would keep helping Reigns, or would Zayn finally help himself? And then he walks away, and you can see, because Sami Zayn is a thoughtful guy, right? This logic kind of hits him for a second. You can see him sort of
when
thinking.
your characters are multidimensional and realistic, that can happen.
Which is what Sami does so well. So,
Well, him and Owens are both really good at that.
Seth makes a lot of sense here, right? So a realistic tone to this that I like. That's what the whole stuff.
Well, because even Rollins, if he's leaning heel, he's not wrong.
With Rollins and Punk and McIntyre and Rollins and
McIntyre and Zayn,
it feels kind of like Raw's enjoyable when we're getting this stuff. I'm not gonna lie to you. Karrion Kross lets us know that the Wyatts have been sent to SmackDown, which I'm like, you can control this group that easily. Like, I can't see them sitting down and going, listen, now your contract dictates, Bo Dallas, that you are only going to
Maybe they could say it to Bo Dallas, just not the people who believe themselves to be buzzards and whatnot.
So I thought that was kind of funny. So Miz and Sammy, because I guess did it bleed into this segment? I like this too, because Miz keeps pointing out, like, because Sammy's mocking him, and he's like, dude, I've had 2 title reigns, you've had 0, right? So that's going to lead to a Miz Sammy match later in the show. Something I loved was the Gunther in-ring segment with Jey Uso. I thought Gunther was like,
I just hate Jey so much.
Flawless here. So much truth from Gunther, right? He comes out by himself, and he right away he's like, I was impressed with the Raw debut on Netflix last week, but not by the in-ring action, which I was like, there, right? He's like, everybody is fighting over personal drama, like who's head of the table, who's best in the world, but his heavyweight championship is what's worth fighting for. Also, I thought was cool. Jay shows up, wants a shot at Gunther, and basically Gunther's just like, you're not on my level. We've already faced twice for the Intercontinental title, and you lost both times.
Although one of them, he got a pinfall because Jimmy interfered. So
Right.
there's
Heel logic. He rules that out, though.
But I just don't like that.
Jay is funny and entertaining, but when that bell rings, Gunther will expose him for what he really is, a talented tag team wrestler. Main Event is a nickname for Jay, but it's a place where Gunther belongs. Jay should, basically, it's like, you should think long and hard about this decision, but if you want to face me, it's fine. And I love, like, that's Gunther again, right? Like,
That's
okay,
the opposite of what he was with Priest.
do it at your own peril. Like, you can have the match, but I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
And we all know I'm gonna kill you. So
I like that.
love
It's so much
this.
better than what they did with Priest, because
Right?
that was bogus.
He's back to like full confident and like, tell me when he's telling lies, right?
I
he's
use
more
that
punk
line
than
so many
punk.
times, and I hate it.
I loved it. And just the contrast of Gunther in the suit with the gold and then a cartoon character beside him.
The glasses,
right?
Like his whole promo,
he took the glasses off.
Well, yeah,
and
I
put him on the back
but
of his head to show how serious.
Just
he
his
is.
whole promo,
So
I just
stupid.
can't take. He's just such a joke.
And
He's
Gunther's
not
saying you're a joke.
He is. He's not a serious singles guy. He doesn't deserve to be here. Like, it's just ridiculous to me. I don't know how people think like this is a guy that we should be pushing.
I love Gunther here. Women's Intercontinental Championship Finals, Dakota Kai, Lyra Valkyria. So Lyra won with her, what's her finisher
Nightwing.
called? The Nightwing.
Which is kind of mid looking.
Only 9 minutes, eh? I thought it was pretty good, though.
It was decent. It
the
was short.
spot of the match was that suplex off the apron. That caught me by major surprise.
The chiropractor is also a sweet move.
The chiropractor is a sweet move
Better
and a
move
great
than
name.
the GTK.
Great name, too.
Yeah,
All-timer.
it's awesome.
As people who like that kind of thing. But I thought Kai took a crazy bump off the apron on that suplex. Sure. Lyra's really good. I'm happy she won the title here, but like a broken record like Statlander, do something to establish a character here. And
Bird.
The wings are back. Are we leaning back into the Bird? Because
also Dakota Kai had a new theme song, and I don't think I liked it, but I'm gonna wait to hear it.
The Bird is no good, so don't do that. Sami Zayn beat Miz in that match. It was short. It was basic. What was the most notable thing? How did he win?
I don't think I paid. Oh, Blue
did?
Thunder Bomb.
Yeah, you were like the Blue Thunder Bomb.
He had a hula kick and then a Blue Thunder Bomb, which is really
actually
weird.
Pinned somebody with the Blue Thunder. So now when they say he's won matches with that, it's actually true.
Yeah, it's like I remember one time Roman Reigns beat Elias with a Superman punch.
Yes.
Like once.
Or otherwise it's like 17 of them.
Yeah. Or like he never wins with it, and then he'll have 5 spears and win.
Right. This one's for you because I put Rhea Ripley had what Jack called a pointless in-ring segment. So go ahead and summarize.
She says she's on top again. Nia Jax comes out. They argue.
As she says that without a belt to a person with a belt.
Who just lost it. And she just lost the belt. Not even that she doesn't have a belt.
Right.
That she just lost it.
So anyways,
just
yeah.
lost it.
And then
Bayley's in the front row. Nia Jax bullies her, comes in. She said something that
big dumb idiot.
That was what Bayley
Stupid.
said. Nia said some sort of like schoolgirl and so, and then Bayley called her a big dumb idiot, and then they started fighting.
Right. Thank you.
Nia Jax did make mention of BBL Bayley, which I thought was pretty funny because
Yes.
that's what people call her now because it looks like she got a Brazilian butt lift and people are commenting on her figure. It's pretty funny.
So this was like the opening segment with the men, right? It's a see you in the Rumble, except of way worse quality.
And one person's not in the Rumble because she's the champion.
And this is what the transfer window gets us. Thank you so much for
more
that.
Nia Jax. Like I wonder who Ripley's plan is for Mania because I think Charlotte I've heard is for Tiffany, which I'm scared.
Me too.
And then Ripley, I don't know. Maybe if she faces the Rumble winner, if Charlotte wins the Rumble, I'm actually gonna like punch somebody.
I'm hearing Flair or Lynch. If Lynch is back.
Way more.
I'd rather someone new.
I would rather someone new. 100%.
Something.
But if I have to pick one of them, I'm 100% picking Becky every time
for sure.
Because even though she has had like a generational,
she can be interesting.
Even though she had a generational run, she can be more interesting. And I still feel like because of how much they shove Charlotte at us, Becky still deserves her due more than Charlotte.
That's right.
100%.
Just out of defiance and
100%.
opposition.
100%. I find her more interesting for sure, and especially also because Becky got so much hate last year for no reason.
I know
when
she did.
Ripley got injured and Becky won the vacant title, people were like calling her like a Super Cena type thing.
I know.
People were hating on her. I was like, what are we doing? Like, maybe she wasn't her most interesting, sure, but when someone vacates a title randomly, you need someone steady like her.
Well, and then once that cycle starts, it just feeds itself.
Yeah, and then she lost it to Liv, which paved the way for that, which was great. But like Becky was still good. She had done nothing wrong, and then she's just been gone since then. And so I think she did nothing to deserve that kind of flack.
No, she's good.
Yeah.
Main event I thought was awesome. I actually put it on the list for TV matches for 2025.
Really excited.
I really enjoyed it. It's Balor and Damian Priest in a street fight. 17 minutes, so a nice time limit. We got kendo sticks, trash cans, including unprotected trash can shots to the head. I guess those things are pretty. Is malleable the word, as someone more recently in science than me. Really memorable spot. You got the broken arrow. It wasn't quite out of the stands, but it was like a giant
I did
case
hear that, yeah.
through a table. Looked really good. Balor also hit a coup de grace through a table at one point, which looked really good. Balor took a razor's edge through a table, looked good. So Priest won with a big South of Heaven, just a regular old one in the ring, but he was screaming, "I'm not my brother's keeper," before he hit it, which I thought was pretty cheesy. But the match itself was good. Of course, the rest of Judgment Day got involved. War Raiders came down to neutralize them, right? Hot crowd, really loved this match. I thought it was really good too. I just wish, obviously, Balor, there's no world, but
I heard
To
they're
me, it's
pushing
like-
this year, but like I don't think
to me, it's like we tried with Priest, and we've decided he's like an IC guy at best, at least in my opinion.
I think so.
And
Even then, I'd
Balor,
rather him not.
You
have
can
it.
elevate Balor,
I think Balor is a main event guy if they wanted him to.
get him out of Judgment Day, let him go do NXT Balor 2.0,
And put him in trunks again.
whatever if you want. I actually liked Raw this week. I thought it was a far cry. I was really down on last week's on the Raw debut. I
Netflix,
couldn't
yeah.
stand it. I thought this one was went by pretty quickly, and there's
More normal.
that
right?
realistic storytelling they're doing is really I enjoy. So I
Mhm.
thought it was good. NXT were also around for more of this than usual.
I think so.
Obafemi speaks in the ring first. He said he always told us he was backed by Destiny and it wasn't a gimmick. He's exposing the business here. All of NXT belongs to the ruler. He will rule as he sees fit. And Trick was a fine champion, but he had a ceiling. So Obafemi's telling the truth too. Femi has no ceiling. Eddie Thorpe is like a cockroach or the gum on the bottom of your shoe that you can't scrape off. Tony D'Angelo comes out, congratulates Femi, but reminds him he's up 2-1 on Femi, I guess, in their North American feud. He won 2 out of the 3. While Femi may be the ruler now, Tony D is the man to defeat him whenever Tony gets his shot. He'll walk out as double champion. Femi is unimpressed by this, reminds Tony that he just recently got dropped by Santa Claus, which was Ridge Holland. Tony says he'll take care of Holland soon enough. Holland comes out with a framed picture of when he took Tony out. Tony attacks him. They brawl up the ramp as Femi's watching. And then guess what? Eddie Thorpe attacks him from behind with a leather strap. Because why? It's a leather strap.
Didn't he have a strap match with somebody?
Dijak?
Yeah, I think that's what
Okay,
it was.
so this is his
I guess
underground, like Lola. But I
Well-
thought that was sort of his too.
Yeah, okay.
He's the man of.
Not to be like
stipulations.
stereotypical, but I guess the strap maybe fits more for
I don't
like
know.
natives. I don't actually know.
I don't know either. So he holds the title high to
Sounds-
end the segment. Femi sounds good, right? Like for his amount
Yeah,
of experience.
Yeah.
Straightforward segment to let us know
And the
that.
crowd doing like the whoo thing is cool.
So it sounds like basically this is telling us Tony and Holland are going to figure their thing out before Tony comes after Femi. So do you think? Sounds to me like they shift the North American title to Holland, free up Tony D to come and finish the whole like I'm the guy that beats you.
But then it'll be like Sammy and Gunther where Oba beats him this time because it's for a belt that they want him to keep.
Right. I think
It's
so.
almost exactly like that.
And then Thorpe is like, we're gonna keep you in this orbit for a bit until we get to Tony. Because
Yeah.
obviously Thorpe's not winning.
Yeah, and
just-
it's weird because Oba's
he's
mostly a
fine.
heel and Thorpe is now definitely a heel.
Yeah.
So
And Thorpe is more interesting than he has been, but he's not like a main event player at this point, I don't think. But anyways, Dante Chen or Mensa backstage. Ethan Page comes in. Chen tells Page that no one wants him in the locker room after what he did to Cedric and Javon Evans. Chen gets angry, but others start to hold him back, and then he leaves to go get a match made against Page, which he gets. Yeah, Page should aggressively beat some enhancement talent, right? As he's doing this new and better character,
where he's actually ego, and
like a
he's
remorseless
actually-
killer, breaker of bones and
He's
whatnot.
actually all ego and he's actually winning.
Right. Shotzi versus Fakir. I thought the crowd was kind of dead here compared to the last couple weeks. And remember, this is where you pointed it out. Because why did we notice the dead crowd more? what was missing?
Oh, I don't remember.
You're like, where's commentary?
Oh
We
yeah,
got a couple minutes where there was no
that was
commentary
weird.
of the
Yeah.
match. Um, I just have Booker just makes sounds and uses no words for a decent stretch. JC Jane gets in the ring and the ref is fine with it, right? Belt shot to Vicker from Henley and Shotzi rolls her up for the win.
I mean, at least that confirms Shotzi's less of a threat if they want her
So
to win.
good thing Vicker won that, what was it, triple threat for number one
Four-way.
contender?
4-way, it was even harder.
4-way. And then what was it that Shotzi just pinned her
Henley
in
a trios match.
and that's it. So Vicker, but I think it's because Vicker is like
A threat.
and is going to be at a bigger time too. So
yeah,
Henley's
you
avoiding
have
her
win the title on a PLE, and
on
so
a big.
we're stalling.
Correct.
So maybe you just don't have her win the 4-way, and you didn't have to do that.
Right. But it's like, well, she's good enough to beat 3 other women, but Henley's afraid of her, so took a cheap way out, which I guess. And it's also like she'd rather face Shotzi, which is fair, very fair. Because Vicker's really cool.
Oh,
Shotzi's
Shotzi
not.
might injure you.
So that looks where that's going. That's true. Or herself, more likely, I feel like.
Either way.
Zarya is giving Kalani advice backstage until Cora Jade interrupts and talks a bit of trash. Kalani ends up slapping her. This is Kalani showing fire, but she can't really act,
did I
so
see
it
this?
doesn't really
I think
matter.
I saw it, maybe.
I think so.
I don't know. Kalani's really bad.
Because you saw Ethan Page, Dante Chen for all of about a minute.
Yeah.
Page attacks before the bell. Chen got one flurry that I thought actually looked okay, like good fire, decent strikes, but then twist of fate and it's over.
Which I
Right.
thought was an odd finish.
I think that's going to be his thing now, maybe. Ego's edge is kind of passe, I guess. I don't know.
It's fine.
Page continues the attack after the bell, takes off Chen's boot, smashes his leg into the ring steps. Not the best looking, but
No,
was
because I
fine.
think you should have got a run up on it.
officials pull Page away. Evans runs down to attack Page to get his vengeance, but Page just punches him right in the jaw, and Evans is down, like oozing blood out of his mouth right away.
Guess it takes a good shot and it would reopen.
And I like that, right? Page is like, I'll re-break your jaw. I don't care. And that's kind of where the way he needs to be. He's more violent and vicious, right? And it's a big improvement. And I also think it's good for Evans to have like a longer, intense feud to work on.
Yeah.
That's the next step for him, right? Is to kind of build him up into like a North American or world champion or thing.
I think he'd be a great North American champion.
Me too. Spears is now recruiting Rizzo. Izzy Dame comes up to defend Rizzo somehow, and Rizzo's like, I don't need your help, and I don't know what's going on here, and I don't care. That's a quick recap of that.
I remember it. I don't care either.
Remember, Ashanti and Petrovic are officially together now. Ashanti has a rose for her.
Index.
She kisses him, so they're a couple now.
Index.
Hooray. Yeah, right. Spotlight is Julia. It's just footage of her match with Perez last week for the most part. And then afterwards, and we get to see Triple H and The Rock obviously getting themselves on the show as much as they can, talking to Julia. So no new information, which is what they like. I don't know. I thought this was just more like a recap and didn't deserve to be dubbed a Spotlight. You know what I mean? But DIY show up. They've heard a lot about Fraxium. Let's go. That match would be amazing. They came to watch them up close in the main event tonight. So give me that match anytime, I said. A match I don't need anytime. Actually, it wasn't bad. I shouldn't be mean. Witches versus Meta 2. Meta 2 use tandem moves. Witches cheat. Lash makes a blind tag, and the Metas hit their finisher on fire for the win. Good enough back and forth match. The one spot I thought looked really bad was the... Were you around for that? The Jakara Jackson off Lash's shoulders. Takes a long time to set up.
Yeah.
The payoff isn't really worth it.
Yeah, I remember that was really like wonky.
But it's nice to see two actual women's tag teams, right, face off in a match. And
Lash, it's pretty rare. So
Lash and Jakara have improved for sure. I feel like Lash is going to be given a singles run at some point.
If she improves a bit more, I could see them easily liking her a lot. She just kind of needs some more.
She's got big personality. She really exudes confidence. The in-ring is progressing, right? And again, main roster, you don't need to be Bryan Danielson.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, right? Dempsey's backstage trying to be a gracious loser since he lost to King last week, but Ren Sinclair is there going like, it's almost like she's she's so innocent she can't even say. She's like, he hit you in the kind of like this, right? King swears it's an accident. She doesn't believe him. It looks like we'll get a rematch, hopefully, with the actual Heritage Cup rules this time. So what do you think happens?
I don't know.
I think
maybe does he snap and cheat here?
Is it time? Either I think he snaps and does cheat because he thinks he needs to retain, or he doesn't cheat and loses, and that's like the
Either
kind of
or,
the
yeah.
last straw.
I feel like it has to go with one of those two
They've
ways.
been really dragging this out.
So if they don't do one, then what's the point?
What's the point of all this? Like, you can't just be like he's a babyface now. It seems like, he
Yeah.
has to revert back. Kalani Jordan, Cora Jade. This is where Masha, one of my favorites, is at ringside with the Knockouts title.
Yeah, she's in like the front row, I think.
Jade just kind of suddenly won, right, with an eye rake and a DDT. It was like 5 minutes. So, not saying it was an amazing match or anything, or that I love either of these women. I think Jordan has a lot of talent and can be good. Jade, I'm kind of like, I don't know if she has it, like the wrestling gene or whatever you want to say.
Either of them.
But at the end of the day, Jade needed a win. Kalani Jordan's furthering that. I'm struggling and attitude
I
changing.
guess you need to do the developmental, let's test you as a heel turn.
That's what I think we're looking at, right? Match was okay. I just don't see much in Cora Jade in it. Jade is staring down Masha, so I guess we're getting that match maybe in TNA. Masha should destroy her.
Yeah.
Destroy her.
But probably not.
Eddie Thorpe does a social media video I couldn't even see. He keeps baiting Oba. Oba keeps falling for it. He's one step ahead, etc. He'll overthrow the leader next week, but it was really, really dark. I couldn't really see anything. Obviously, he's going to lose to Femi, but they're keeping him in that picture for a minute just to kill some time. And then a match that's worth going back and watching. You didn't see it. I watched it, I think, while you were at work. Fraxium but anyways, Fraxium OTM was a really good match. And OTM look huge. And I told you, Price gives me Brock Lesnar redacted vibes, just in terms of his presence and his size. And I'm not saying his ability or anything else.
Yeah.
But like he's got
just like
that
visually.
Because he's not like it's because he's 6'8", but it's because he's 6'3" or whatever he is, and just huge and imposing.
Yeah, he's
looking.
like built. Yeah.
DIY are watching from a balcony. And they gave some good reactions when OTM was hitting high impact stuff that I thought, like,
That
those
kinda
guys
helps,
are
right?
impressed, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt. Obviously, Fraxium bump all over the place. They start out by being really elusive and avoiding them, which makes sense. OTM looks really good. Nima does like a knuckle lock, and then he walks up the steps not the steps, the corner, and like puts one foot on your chest and just stomps you to the mat,
Like
which
an
I
old school kind of thing, but
thought was kind of
obviously his
cool.
kind of take on it.
Fraser hits a crazy frog splash to Nima through a table on the floor. Price surprisingly takes a top rope Spanish fly and a golden ratio. Fraxium
Fraser
retained.
did the Rollins spot, I was saying. Rollins has done that a bunch of times.
It looked awesome. And they kind of did it from pulled away sort of thing. It looked really cool. Super entertaining match, man. Like, this elevates OTM significantly in a loss. And it looks like there was a segment early in the show next. It's going to be kind of OTM. They had a problem with Briggs and Inamura. It was kind of funny because Briggs and Inamura are confronting Fraxium, and OTM's like, kind of like, hey man, we're facing them tonight.
Right.
Like, you're just assuming, you know what I mean?
Gonna keep the
But in
belts,
like their heelish way. Fraxium's string of matches, they're just awesome, right?
They are great.
It's crazy. But they're what was it? The third or fourth best tag team of the year?
They're third.
It's ridiculous. The show ends with my one criticism of this is the placement. I don't feel like this needed to be the final thing we see, but I think it's because main roster's in it. So it has to be. It's Roxanne Perez in the ring, and she starts out sounding a bit like a baby face. Like, all she wanted to do was make the women's division that could main event and that attracted the best from around the world. And she did that and turned it into the best women's division. And she even says Julia was the better woman last week. Then she kind of shifts more heelish, right? You can kiss women's wrestling being the focus goodbye because NXT doesn't deserve her. It's not going to be the same because in the past you needed the 4 horsewomen, but recently you only needed her. Okay. So of course the 4 horsewomen reference means Bayley comes out. Great reaction because she was an NXT darling, right? Of all darlings, pretty much at all time. The early Bayley stuff would be an interesting era for you to see when she was doing the whole like starstruck by everybody she met. Was kind of cool, actually. She says Roxy is at a crossroads and can learn from it. And I liked Roxy cuts her off, goes, I didn't ask you for advice. Like, I thought she said that well. Roxy says Bayley is just like Natty and CM Punk and everyone who she used to look up to. Bayley sets records, but Roxy broke them. Bayley was her role model, but she could now be Bayley's, which I thought was interesting. Bayley says the difference between them is Roxy will still be stuck here while she goes to WrestleMania and she wins the title from Tiffany on Friday. Roxanne attacks. They brawl to end the show. Good segment. Does this not feel like Perez is in the Rumble, probably throws out Bayley?
I can
right?
see that, yeah, because
Like-
Perez was already in the Rumble, right?
Right,
As
last
NXT
year.
champion, yeah.
Yes. So I feel like this is time that she goes up and probably puts her in a hot first program with Bailey, where if they want to keep her heel, like they'll love
you can
to,
do that, yeah.
right?
100%.
So I think it's kind of smart to bring her back. They knew she's going to get a huge reaction, which further entrenches Perez as a heel. Other than the placement, I thought it was a good segment. I just don't think this needs to be the lasting image from this show. But a pretty good NXT too, to be honest. And then I told you Speed. Somehow Gable Dempsey had a good match. It's too bad that WWE doesn't think that like this style works, right? Because it was cool to
They're really
see.
cool together, yeah.
And they timed he won with the Chaos Theory, like timed it perfectly. SmackDown, I told you I saw the Jacob Fatu in-ring
Fatu's
promo.
awesome. I love Fatu. I have been keeping tabs on his promos.
It sounded good.
He's so good.
He handled the what's pretty well. He's learned that like the smart ones get that if you put out a reliable cadence, you're going to get whatted to death. But if you switch up the length of pauses between things,
that's what he
you
did.
can avoid it and people get frustrated and stop. And that's what he did. And that's a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
He did say something. He said it wrong, but it didn't bother me.
And like Solo didn't say anything.
No, which is smart. So it seems like we're getting that ball rolling and hopefully it just picks up momentum, right?
Like, I don't know what you do with Solo, just for him at least.
I don't either. Back to NXT?
I guess so.
Honestly. Because I wasn't impressed the whole time up in main roster, right? As soon as they made it clear that that's where they were going with him as like dollar store Roman, it was just like it didn't work. But anyways, I've talked about that lots. Anything else? I'm done.
I am also done.
All right, so that's going to get us out of here just over 2 hours. Not bad. Appreciate you joining us. Send feedback. Talk about your fantasy booking stuff. Like that was a good idea. Spurred some interesting conversation for us from Ghost Jam. So anyone wants to talk about how they'd like to see things go on Raw or NXT or AEW, throw them in there. We may hit on that among all the other stuff we'll talk about next Saturday on episode 236. And until then, everybody, take care.